Everybody, welcome back to a CyberPunk Red prep session. This will be the last prep session before we start with live play. CyberPunk Red being a tabletop game that takes place in the Cyberpunk universe about 40 years prior to Cyberpunk 2077, the popular video game that's out right now. We have 5 players out tonight. Tonight's going to be a tutorial game, essentially, making sure that we're all on the same page for how the rules are played and how they go. So at least some of the more complicated systems. We have all 5 players tonight, which is awesome. Starting off, we have Mark, who's going to be playing Bishop, a netrunner. Say hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark. Hi, everybody.
That is essentially how his character looks with a digital faceplate, keeping his identity hidden. We have Naomi playing No One, the Fixer.
Hi.
We have Jay playing Nate, the Rocker Boy.
Hello.
We have Anthony playing Frenchie, the Medtech.
Howdy, howdy.
And we have Billy playing Hector, the Netrunner.
Hey there.
Hopefully you all are doing great in the world as it is out there today. We will be playing, it's going to be a shorter session in theory. We're just going to be going over some of the rule sets as we discussed, because some of them can be a little bit complicated and we don't want to drag things down and make sure you guys understand them now. So we will start with your characters. So I did discuss earlier that these characters all live in the same stack in Immigrant Nation in the northeastern portion of Lumens Nouveau, which is a city that used to be New Orleans and is still called New Orleans by a lot of people. After the corporate wars, New Orleans essentially sunk into the sea after several storms and no government support to help rebuild it. It essentially sunk into the sea. About 10 to 12 to 15 years ago, some people from the area who had become corpos decided they wanted to start a project to reclaim the area and rebuild New Orleans into a shining gem of the South, Dixie, as it's called now. So this game takes place about 10 to 12 years after the city has been built, and even though it's a relatively new city, that's plenty of time for the humidity and kind of crime and people who are looking to take advantage of each other moved into these small areas. The area that we're going to be starting in and that some of the game will be taking place in, because that's where the players live, is Immigration Nation. And that is where essentially all of the people who are not from Dixie proper, or people that are on the down and out and can't really afford high corp living, are living. Essentially, there are large sections of the community that have shipping containers that have been converted into kind of apartments, cheap apartments, that have a small kitchenette, a bed, maybe a very small couch or lounging area, and probably a small closet, a toilet closet. There's a connex with showers that the community of an area uses and shares. But it kind of builds up the neighborhood, it builds up the community, and so you have small pockets of the different communities within Immigration Nation. Our group belongs to a stack, so a stack vertically of some of these container houses. And as such, they are all present when they hear strange music coming from just south of them, an area that they know as the Commons. It is a slightly larger common area that is sometimes used for impromptu concerts, or if a corporation is coming in and handing out kibble, which is human food made of plankton and seaweed and kelp, that and protein that essentially tastes like the canine variant of the name of its namesake, about as cheap as you can get for food. So they hear kind of a commotion coming from this large open common area. Uh, Walking out onto the very small decking that they have with stairs, you can see what looks like an area that has been decorated for the holidays. It being December, very few people actually can get into the spirit of the holidays because they just don't have the eddies or the euros for it. So it's very seldom that anybody sees something like this. But it looks like almost a festival has been set up just south. How you hadn't heard of it, or how no word of it had gotten to you, you're not sure. But that's what you see in here. Actions. Let's start with Bishop.
Well, he will come out of his hiding place between a couple adjacent stacks, since that's kind of where he beds down. He'll roll up his bag and look to see what's going on.
Make the traverse down to the bottom floor.
Actually, I don't own a container. I sleep on the streets, remember?
Right, but you sleep on the streets in Nation, so I would say you probably still sleep in between two cargo containers, so
right.
that you're not visible.
Right. I'm sorry. I thought I could do that on the streets. My bad.
So you can, but the more invisible
it would be
you
safe.
are,
Yeah, it would be safer higher up. Yeah. No, that makes sense. So yes, I would start climbing down and, or making my way down, safely, and rolling up my stuff and seeing what I can see once I get down there.
All right, let's go to Nate the Rocker Boy.
Does Nate see Bishop descend?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm going to say that the five of you have seen each other if you don't know of each other, but the chances are you probably know of each other. In a lot of these neighborhood-like conditions, there are small bonfires, or if somebody gets a couple extra pieces of fruit, they tend to share them. It is unlike much of the rest of the city, unless you're in a gang or a big family, that you end up sharing.
In that case, I'm going to descend as well, and assuming there's going to be people down there, he's going to basically take note of them and sort of assess if there's a crowd. Is it full? Is the common areas packed with people? Is it really empty? What time of day is it? That sort of thing.
It is just after the sun goes down. So just after dusk, dawn, dusk. It's
Twilight.
just after dusk, and so it's just getting dark. That's where you guys can really see the hundreds, if not thousands, of small electronic lights that are lighting up the sky to the south of you. You do see that the noise and the lights are bringing people out of their apartments, using the term loosely, and moving towards this, what seems to be festival. So it's pretty packed, because this area is pretty packed.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, he's going to go down there, keep his eye on Bishop, but also, look around the crowd, look at people, just kind of see what's going on with them.
It's not often that people can get excited living the way they do now, but it almost seems like people are hopeful as they're moving towards these lights. Let's go to Billy. Hector.
I am also going to head out of my room, I want to call it that, and head down towards the crowd, a group of people that I kind of know. Is Frenchie already down there, or no? I think he's the most likely. I don't see him.
You don't see him yet, but there are a lot of people.
And is there like a general direction? Like people seem to be flowing?
So it seems like there are small walkways and thoroughfares that go around some of the stacks and go around some of the other small tents and hastily set up shelters and stuff that are in this area. It seems that everybody is kind of moving, like
Gotcha.
towards this area.
I'm just gonna make my way down and kind of keep an eye out for potential escape routes. Really.
This is a lot of people. It'd probably be a good idea.
Yep.
Smart to be paranoid. Frenchie.
Frenchie, however, is not paranoid at all. And upon hearing the festival and seeing what's going on, he finishes cleaning up the container where his workshop is, because he actually sleeps in a cube in an undisclosed location, but works out of the container park workshop. Anyways, he exits out, kind of leans against the rail to let him kind of look, because he's a couple floors up, of course, lean against the rail to kind of look around, see what's going on, see if he can see the rest of the group, his friends that are around. Catches sight of Hector, kind of nods in his direction and starts wandering over towards that side of the container park.
Okay. And no one.
I'm getting ready for a party. So no one is getting dressed, ready, then locking up and heading down for a good time.
So I'll say you probably head out a good 6-7 minutes after they do. How
Yeah,
long do you
probably.
think it takes you? Okay. So
I'm good at it by now.
the group kind of walks en masse, and as you get closer to this festival, you see that there's a huge hollow ad, several of them really, hovering over the commons. The main one welcoming you to the Festival of Lights, and it blinks. It says Festival of Lights and a whole bunch of really bright, almost firework light, like sparkles of light, and then after that proceeds with a rolling credits list of all of the people who are behind donating and making sure that this was possible and wanting to give back and all of the stuff that you normally see. And then it scrolls through and then it says, "Welcome to the Festival of Lights," flash, 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 and then back to the credits. You see ads for different corporate foods and vendits. As you're starting to make your way there, you can smell fair food, which the last fair that came through this area of Dixie was probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it was very small and very expensive. Even though they parked here in Nation, very few of the people from the nation were actually even able to go because it was so expensive. The land was cheap, and that was the bigger part of it. This, though, has no fences. Everything is open, people are kind of milling around, and you can already hear the sound of carnival games and different events. There's music being played near the even more south of the festival. Some of it being holiday music, some of it being this cyber noir thrill beat that hums in the air and kind of shakes your soul. Especially Midnight, Nate, is really kind of gelling off of the sound.
Absolutely.
It's not often that you've been able to hear live music that you were not playing. And it's kind of, that's the part that's really kind of getting you down that way. As people are running in, you also start catching a voice that is, it sounds more electronic because it's being pushed through a very loud condensed speaker, but it's a deep voice that says, "Welcome one, welcome all to the Festival of Lights, appearing now in Lumens Nouveau, the only 100% free to the public festival. And it says donations taken whenever appropriate. And then that same recorded phrase plays over and over and over. Okay. And as you are kind of beginning to mill around a little bit, you actually see there is a fairly large food court. Though all of the food is kibble or pre-pack. Pre-pack is kibble, which is what you guys kind of you probably eat 2 to 3 times a week, if not every day, because it's super cheap. When you can afford it, you probably buy pre-pack, and when you can really afford it, you'll end up getting fresh food or frozen food because that's even more expensive and even better. But pre-pack, essentially, especially from vendit machines, is you'll go up to a burrito vendit, you'll press the kind of burrito you want, it pops down a Chipotle-sized burrito that is in a foil special Ziploc, zipped up package. It has a tag that you pinch and pull off, and it heats itself. And then you eat it. There are drinks that you get, and you hold down a button on it for a certain amount of time, and it cools depending on how long you hold down the button. Obviously, these aren't super cheap, but that's the type of stuff that's available here. You see that there are robots, which you don't see very often. Many of them in brightly garish colors. I know that's the same thing said twice, and it needs to be said twice because of how bright and colorful they are. But they're walking around. You don't see them carrying any weapons, but it's very obvious that they're there for security. And the vendit machines, they're free, but you have to badge with your ID, your identification, in order for it to drop food or drinks or whatever in that section. There are a few actual food vendors that are people that have set up pop-up slurp shops or sorp shops. Sorp being a lower end drink, alcoholic drink, kind of like a suds, that most people in nation have gotten used to. It's like a mixture of soda and beer. And a slurp shop is essentially a noodle shop that's cheap noodles that are usually pretty good. And you also see several vendors selling meat, but it doesn't tell you what kind of meat they're selling, so that's on you. There's an area that is doing games, and they actually have prizes. They have prizes that they're giving away as well. Some of these games actually kind of not speak out to you, but are things that interest you. There's a firing range that draws all of your attention because the grand prize is 1,000 Eurobucks, eddies, which means it's probably rigged.
That sounds amazing.
It seems like a lot of people are interested in that one. Not many people have training, though, being that firearms are mostly illegal in Dixie. And you don't see a lot of people with firearms here, period, because you're pretty sure something like this had to be cleared, and you'll probably see Dixie Rangers here tonight. So there are people already taking their chance and trying to win that extra money, but nobody so far has been able to do it because they are all pretty bad shots. You also see that Jailbreak Jenny, who is a fixer that works primarily with netrunners, has a booth set up that near the back that most people are just like pretending they don't see because most people don't want to, if they are net runners, they don't want to advertise that they're net runners. But you can see that she has a booth set up as well, kind of near the back as an offshoot to the festival itself. Can I get a Streetwise from Bishop and Hector, please? So that's going to be a 1d10 plus your Streetwise plus your... Is it intelligence? Cool.
It's cool.
Okay, thank you. So cool.
Yeah, definitely cool.
I apologize. One more time for the roll.
Okay, so it's going to be a Streetwise check.
Okay, got it.
For Mark and Billy.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is it an
Oh.
AI running the booth, or is it a person behind the booth?
So as you look over there, you can see that there is a monitor set up with Jailbreak Jenny's avatar face, and it's smiling at the crowd, welcoming him in, and trying to get people to come over and take a chance. Hey, Billy.
Water.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi. Oh, you got it. Never mind. I hadn't seen it pop up yet. Okay. So I'm going to start with Hector. Hector has heard of Jailbreak Jenny, has not worked with Jailbreak Jenny because Hector has not been in Lumen's Nouveau very long. But you know that she has a garden patch that's also a media point. She has like a television show, essentially.
Gotcha.
But you've never seen the show, so you're not sure what it's about. However, as those of you who are watching the rolls on the stream have noted, hopefully, Mark rolled a 1d10 plus 10 and rolled a 10. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about was critical successes and critical failures. If you roll a 10 on a d10, it explodes and you roll an additional d10 and add it to the result. If you roll a 1, you roll another d10 and subtract that from your roll. So it's possible to have a final score of under 0 with a roll if you roll poorly enough. I know because I have done some rolls for them in the past and have not done well for them. So, Mark, with that roll, you have actually taken a job for Jailbreak Jenny in the past. But Jailbreak Jenny is a media netrunner who has a website, essentially a garden patch, where she puts up challenges and puzzles, and all of them are net running puzzles and net running challenges, like break into this garden patch in this much time and win some money, or break into this net node at a specific building in this much time and win some cash. And usually they are recorded, and usually they are put onto her garden patch video stream, which is gaining popularity among a lot of people that have those abilities and don't. But you know that she is very popular, and she does what she says. If she offers a prize for somebody who gets this stuff done, she's true to it. So if she has a challenge going at this festival, it's probably worth something because she wants to record it and put it on her stream.
So I will, I guess I should say, since this is the first time we've all been in character, that not only does Bishop have a mask like the one that I'm wearing that changes faces, but he also uses a voice modulator. So he doesn't speak with a normal voice. He pretty much sounds like Ned from South Park, is the short answer. But he will turn to Hector and say, "Come on, we can make some creds."
Sounds good. Lead the way.
And just to get used to it, it's EBs, zeros,
Oh,
or
sorry.
eddies.
Yes, sorry. Eddies.
Because street cred is a thing, we're going to try to get used to certain terminology.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll do the net running tutorial first. It's important for everybody to kind of watch how it goes, just in case you decide to make a net runner down the road.
Or also so you know that when it looks like we're doing nothing, we're actually doing a bunch of stuff. In the real world.
Yeah. Yeah, when you guys are watching them and they're just sitting there. Okay, so let me get to that page really quick. For those of you with a book that want to follow along, I'm on page 198/199. As both of you, I like the downvote. As both of you make your way to Jenny's booth, you see the face icon of Jailbreak Jenny break out in a wide grin. She says, "Finally, I've been open for a while now, and nobody's even walked up and taken a chance." And then you see it hold for a second as if it's scanning, and she says, "Oh, Bishop, it's good to see you again. I had a lot of comments on how fast you broke into that last one."
What's the prize going to be this week?
So that right there is a prize all in itself, kiddies. I have 2 programs up for the win. A small pot, I'll say it's a small pot, of 150 eddies for you guys, for the winners, and a password file for a very specific node.
Excellent.
That is for the winner. And she winks at both of you. So, while Hector's picture isn't on here, you can see Hector's picture on the broadcast. He also wears a mask. Is that correct, Billy?
It's more of a picture of him suited up or geared for something less than ideal situation. We'll say like on a mission.
So how would he be dressed right now?
Right now, he'd be dressed in like athletic gear. So if he's not expecting to do much or see much action, I would say sweats or slacks, right? Something comfortable with like a athletic jacket and like a t-shirt, like a white t-shirt underneath. He's got several tattoos. So one of them basically right in the center of his chest. And since they light up, he always makes sure that that white t-shirt is kind of thin enough for you to be able to see the tattoo.
Okay. Awesome. She says, I'm always welcome to newcomers as well. What name for the feed should we put down for you there, kiddo? Meaning to you, Hector.
Hector.
You see it the screen once again freeze as it's inputting, and you see the screen instead of her avatar face, it replaces. It has 2 scoreboards. One says Bishop, and there's a line, and one says Hector. And from the center of this kind of small mechanical cargo container, you see a small jack pop up. It almost looks like a holocron from Star Wars. It's very intricate and kind of pretty the way it's been crafted, but almost immediately both of you get the heads up that it is a node, a node access point. She says, the first one to the last floor wins the prize.
My screen changes.
To running?
Yep.
And she says, at the timer, And then she pauses and says, "To be clear, the fastest of all of the people that attempt tonight win the prize. I can't
Understood.
just give away this prize to everybody who walks up."
Is there any way that? Am I aware of any way that we can kind of game it, or that I can help Bishop, or he can help me?
So, something that Mark and I have been talking about, and that's a good question. You have the way netrunning works is a netrunner has a handful of actions, not counting their programs that make them special that they've purchased, but they have a series of actions. Among these actions are scanner, backdoor, cloak, control, ID, Pathfinder, slide, and virus, and zap. I'm adding an additional ability for you guys. I'm house ruling it because, again, there is no rules on having multiple netrunners inside of a node. And what that's going to be is broadcast. If you are on a node with another netrunner and you know that netrunner's information, like their IP essentially, you can, as a net action, put together a packet of information and send that information to the other netrunner. So, for example, let's say both of you are on floor 1. Floor 1 has a password. Both of you try to backdoor that password and get past it. Maybe you, Hector, make it past the password, but Bishop doesn't. As a net action, you can grab that information, that password, and broadcast it to Mark or to Bishop, so that Bishop doesn't need to. Bishop can immediately pass the back door.
So we're not in the same instance. We're in like separate instances of.
You are going to be so. There is a network architecture that has floors. Each of these floors has a thing. Both of you are in your own instance of that network architecture. However, when you face things like ice, for example, bad guy ice or traps, you both, it is able to affect you both, but has one res value for both of you because it's a shared resource across the network. So while it can strike each of you in your own instance, you share that res pool. So you're hitting it and Bishop's hitting it, it's going to die faster. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay. So that being the case, there will be a lot of threats in there, and you both have to face them individually, except together.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of complicated, but it's going to be. If you face a netrunner, the netrunner has control of the resources of the architecture itself, but still has to focus on one or the other of you. It can send stuff at both of you, but that netrunner can only focus on one or the other of you.
Makes sense.
You added to the list of net actions you have is broadcast. If you have a memory chip, which is how you would copy files in large documents or copy video from a camera into your inventory, you have a memory chip and some way to store it on that memory chip, right? You can package that video or that audio, and you can broadcast it to Bishop as well with a broadcast action. If Bishop has no way to save that, he watches it on the network and then it's gone. If he has a way to save that, then he's able to save it as well or instead. If you come across an encrypted file and don't want to take the time to decrypt it, you can pack it up into a broadcast and shoot it over his way without him needing to find it.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay, so to answer your question, yes, you might be able to help each other out in that way because while you are competing, you are also kind of friends and on the same team. You've kind of work. You may not have worked together before, but you know of each other, and you know that you're both kind of in the same field a little bit. So, as the node pops up, she says, "Let me know when you're ready," because she knows that some netrunners have strange net running rituals and things to get ready to do their stuff.
Ready.
Are you ready, Hector?
I am ready.
Okay. 1 second. What? I mean, if you want to make a netrunner later, I'm answering questions behind the silver screen.
Should we just have, excuse me, should we just have 5 net runners and a rocker boy?
Hey, wait a minute.
No. I'm good with not being a net runner. I have people to do that.
Okay, I'm gonna get to the section with all of the black ice that can kill you.
Can I broadcast to Bishop, and is it one way, like just to him?
Yes. So your action. So you guys. So remember that technically you are in the real world and in virtual space, right? And you're standing right next to each other. So you guys could talk to each other right now, and while you're in the net. She might hear you working together and think that isn't what the idea behind the contest, but you're not sure until you do it, right? Broadcasting information is one way, and it's a net action.
Okay. So if I broadcast, so she can actually hear it.
No. Sorry. If you are packetizing and broadcasting a packet of information, you're only sending it to a specific IP. She doesn't see that, in theory.
Okay.
That because it's sent directly to Bishop, who you know is on the same network as you. It's not even leaving the network. It's in the same network, just traveling to a different IP.
Okay.
So as a netrunner yourself, you're fairly certain that, especially at this kind of low-level festival party grab, she's doing it for the hits on her site, and probably not monitoring what you guys are doing to each other or throwing at each other, because I didn't say it, but you could also set up your own black ice and target other netrunners like Bishop on the network, because they're on the network.
Gotcha. Well, I'm more interested in talking to Bishop and telling him, communicating to him and only him, that if we can cooperate or work through this together, we might stand a better chance of beating out anybody else in the competition.
Oh, so are you whispering that to him in meat space? Or are you starting off by broadcasting that while you guys are in like the lobby?
So whatever way, that's why I was asking if there's any way she could like eavesdrop or hear if I broadcasted it to him, because the idea is to keep that on the DL.
So as you guys jack in, you find yourself in a kind of like apartment lobby like building, or look. It has a small carpet on the floor that says "Start." It's like written in the same kind of lettering you might see in the Wiz old game, in the Preen old game of Monopoly. And you see a couple plants in the corners and a small TV, a digital TV up in the corner that is playing what looks like old vids of her show, of Jailbreak Jenny's show. You hear a buzzer that's going bzzz, bzzz, off to your left somewhere, and you see a door ahead of you. She hasn't said start yet. It is possible to have net actions at this time. It's possible to have net actions at this time if you wanted to send a broadcast. So here would be where you would packet up that information, that message, and send it across before we even start the initiatives.
That's exactly what I did then.
Okay. So, Bishop, you receive a broadcasted piece of information along a friendly IP that you recognize.
A thumbs up is received back. And also, I will activate Speedy Gonzalez.
Okay. Do you also, Hector?
Most definitely.
Okay.
And for
can I go ahead?
Sorry,
go ahead.
For non-net
No.
runners, Speedy Gonzalez gives us +2 to our speed. Inside the net.
I should
Not in
hope
meat
so.
space.
Okay. So each of you are standing in your own version of this lobby. As you look up across the screen from you, you see what looks like a small kitten face done in a kind of anime style. She has mirror sunglasses on and a mohawk, and it's just her face and two small kitten paws holding on to what looks like a jail cell bars of a small jail cell window, and it is in front of, hovering about a foot in front of what you think is a door to the next room or to the next floor, to the next area. As you kind of are looking at it, you can see that it is obviously a password block, and as both of you kind of start prepping yourself, you hear bing, bing, and she says go, and that's when there's like a loud horn inside your guys's
Instance.
and you're off to the horses. So I'm gonna go ahead and have you both roll a interface check plus speed, and that will be kind of the order that we do things.
And
So that's going to be a D10 plus your interface of 4 plus your speed, which right now is 2.
Oh, okay. So. $15 for Bishop.
Okay. Nice, guys. Nice. All right. So, which one of you has the higher reflexes?
Reflex, I have 4.
What about you, Hector?
I have 8.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, you're going first.
Okay.
Okay. So, Hector, you see this password in front of you, this password block.
So, looks like it's time to crack it.
Mm-hmm. So, what kind of action are you going to perform?
I gotcha. I will stand by. My action will be to backdoor it.
Okay.
So basically, backdoor allows a netrunner to try and break through passwords inside the net.
Right. So, you're going to make an interface check, which again is a D10 plus your interface value, as you're trying to beat this password block.
Alrighty.
And so if you look at also, just something to add, if you look at that, Mark added a exclamation point after his roll.
Yep.
What that does is that makes your D10 exploding. So if you rolled a 10, it would automatically roll an additional 10.
And so I will.
That's perfect. So something that Anthony just shared, just so you guys know, are two quick references, which I can't really put up right now, but I wish I'd had this before. That's some great information just for you guys to save. Okay, so you rolled an 8. You are kind of throwing code. Actually, let's rewind. Each of you has an icon or an avatar for this. Do you know what kind of avatar that you want for your character? If not, that's fine. We can come back to it later.
I do actually have an avatar for my character.
Okay. Do you want to describe it?
Yep. And for those of you that are in Roll20, you can actually see the avatar it shows for my character. That's the little icon of the guy down there I have. So imagine like something that looks like, I don't know, Middle Eastern kind of sand warrior, but then not made out of like flesh in any capacity. So you have like this cloak and clothes in the shape of a man, but there's no face, and it's all just grit and sand making it up.
That is pretty awesome.
It is quite awesome, but I am working with a neon guy and the mummy.
So you really should talk about this where they can hear you.
Okay, so I think your idea is awesome, but I am now working with a guy that's made out of neon and the mummy.
Well, okay, but keep in mind, you don't see the mummy. That's only inside the net, and you're not inside the net.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
Alright,
this is how
I have
their
no idea.
avatar looks while on the net.
But does Mark's character look like that in real life?
So
Yes.
I do generally, except this is actually my avatar inside the net. It's basically a stick person with this head
Oh,
made
okay.
out of neon.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So as you attempt to break through the back door, Hector, you're slinging code at it, and you're just not able to get through it with this action.
Sounds good.
We're gonna jump to. So keep track of how many actions you're using, please.
Okay.
I will jump to Mark's net action.
I will move up to the passcode and attempt to break it.
So you're going to be using a back door.
Yep.
Yeah. So go ahead and make me a interface check.
I'm actually going to use luck is per session, right?
Luck is per session. So there is a luck stat in CyberPunk Red that is one of the stats that you kind of purchase when you're starting, and it gives you a certain number of points that will give you bonuses to your roll. A +1. Every point you spend is a +1 to your roll.
Backdoor plus 3 points luck. Wow.
And I know
that was horrible.
That's awesome. Okay, so you actually are able to. You're throwing sling at it. You're having the same problem, and you're not sure why both of you are having kind of this. Other than her being kind of tricksy with these challenges, and as a part of the, you're throwing code at it, and then luckily you remember that you have faced some of her challenges before. Throw an extra line in there that she used in one of the last puzzles, and you're able to break apart the password. And you see the two kitten paws as you're throwing sling at it, pulls the bars across, and then the kitten head pops out with a big smile, and the whole thing dissipates. And you're able to move to the next room.
Question.
Yes.
When we do this, are we going to go back and forth every net action, or are we going to do each person's block of net actions for the turn?
So I was going back and forth per net action, just because we're already leaving 3 people waiting for you guys to be done with this round.
Because I mean, it might be better if we queue up all 3 of our net actions at once and say what we're doing in succession.
So then I'll pretend you didn't just roll that and go back.
If that's what you want, I was just going to say I was going to broadcast it to Hector as my second net action and third net action to go down a level.
So movement is free.
Oh, okay.
So you broadcast the password to Hector as your action, and you move to the next floor. You have one more net. You have
one. I backdoored, I broadcast, and then that should be one more.
I thought you had 4 net actions.
Oh no, three net running actions at rank 4.
Okay. Yes. So okay. So that's 2. Movement is free. So you'll have 1 additional net action, and I'll go back to Hector for his additional net actions.
Right.
So you enter the next room. The next room looks to be a room similar to the one prior. As your avatar kind of does this gingerbread man-like run into the room, you see that something from the floor begins to pulse and melt into this strange liquid that is dripping up towards the ceiling, and it captures your feet.
I have a real question.
Yes.
Like the shield and stuff like that, does that need to be activated at the beginning, or is it a reaction that just burns in that action? I'm not sure about that part. Because if they needed to be on...
Shield has a res value, so you actually have to activate that early.
Okay, then I think Hector and I probably would have turned on all of our defenses before.
But you didn't, and you said you had done speed.
So my final one is to turn on...
I will allow you to have turned on shield before entering this room, but that would be your action.
I have armor, so I'll do that one.
You'll do armor instead?
I don't have shield.
So, you were using that as an example?
Yes.
Okay. So you activate armor as your third action. Okay, Hector.
Correct.
You have 2 additional... It's perfect. You have 2 additional net actions. You just received a broadcast that contained the password. It will take an action to pass this challenge, but you don't have to roll.
Okay.
That's essentially what that is.
Okay.
And so you have the information, you pass that information on, and you see the same. You see the kitten pull the bars across, and the smiley kitten face kind of do that scary at you and disappears into nothing. And you are able to pass into the next room as well. Did you want to activate anything before moving into this next room?
Armor as well.
Okay, so you will activate armor as well. You move into the next room and see the same as I mentioned. It's a room about as large as the lobby that you just left. It is pretty blank, except for you see a room at the end of this small corridor-like room, and the floor is melting and bubbling and dripping towards the ceiling and attempting to essentially capture your feet. So we're going to pause for a second and cut to the other peoples who have moved around. That's pretty freaky, Mark. Who have moved around the fire, the shooting gallery. It is a small shooting gallery. There are what look like holograms of cans and bottles on the back of this heavy... It almost looks like the back of a dump truck that has been set here, where the back of the dump truck is where all of the targets are. and there's like metal on top too for ricochets. But it looks like there's a thin layer of ballistic gel at the back of the shooting gallery to capture bullets and make sure nothing penetrates or ricochets or anything like that. And then 2 feet in front of that is a set of shelves that have these holographic bottles and cans. And there's a handful of what you can pretty easily recognize as cheap pistols, and they are laying out on a bundle. There is a robot standing just behind the counter with a face screen, much like Mark's mask, that is projecting an image of a man's face where his skin is extremely white, like the shade white, with blue lips, and he's wearing a cowboy hat, and like an old cowboy hat with moth holes and patches, and bows to the people who stand up for the next shot and says, "Welcome, welcome, one and all. Take your chance, take your shot. The winner of the evening wins that purse." And he points over, and you can see a thick, heavy metal safe. It's an old style safe with a turn dial, and it has a glass window on the side that is fairly thick, and inside you can see Eurobucks, a whole bunch of rolls of Eurobucks that have been shoved into this safe. And there's 6 lines, and people get 1 chance and then walk off, and they're walking off sad because most people aren't even hitting 1 or 2 targets, and they have 6 shots to hit 6 targets. You guys are pretty far back.
Am I one of the shooters?
Yeah, you and Frenchie and Nate at this moment.
Okay, so I'll wait till my turn in line.
Okay. So as you guys are moving up in line, you see that sure enough, like, people will hit 1 or 2 of these holographic bottles, holographic cans, and that's obviously not enough. Everybody is also having to pass their IDs. You notice that almost everything here, it's still logged for your identification, and you're sure that information is getting sold somewhere to some corporation, but you have to scan your identification to be able to participate in some of these things.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So as we approach the shooting gallery, is there a way to ascertain, like, maybe who's running the thing, or if there's somebody off to the side that's actually like in charge?
That is a good question. So you do see a series of ads over almost all of this stuff. This one looks like it is a petrochem and Miltech co-op that is being run by this simulated AI, or this simul AI, or maybe he's an actual AI. You're not entirely sure. You're not close enough yet. But he seems to have personality, and he's commenting to people, and he's noticing them, so he can obviously see the people in line. And when people try to cut or take 2 shots, he calls them out. So the AI, whether it's a full AI or not, who is running this robot body, which also looks beat up and shot, just so you know, seems to be the one who's running the show here.
So is this pseudo AI interactable? Is it like approachable and have a discussion, or it's more like, no, rush everybody around to this line and take your turn and leave?
So he seems happy enough to talk, but also busy, because he's making sure that people aren't cutting in line and people are taking the correct turns. Okay,
in that case, is there any way for Nate to detect either, perceiving or humanly perceiving anybody taking bets on who might win?
Give me a perception check.
I like the way he thinks.
Thank you.
Off to the right, the line for this kind of game is fairly long. Off to the right, you actually see a group of people from the neighborhood you've seen. You're not sure what their names are. Most of them are older folks, long in tooth, that have lived in Dixie their whole life, that it's obvious they're taking bets. And it's not big bets because most of these people they know and they don't want to lose money. But they're betting not on every round that's coming through, but if they see somebody that they think actually might have a chance, they'll bet on that one.
In that case, Nate would like to actually approach those individuals instead of be in line. So you can go to No One and Frenchie if you like, because I have a conversation I want to do with them.
Okay. So I will do No One and Frenchie. Then I'll go back to Bishop and Hector for another round of their night actions, and then I'll go to your conversation because you're kind of moving through people to get there.
Excellent.
Okay. So No One and Frenchie, it ends up as your turn in line as you step up to the mark. 4 people that you kind of recognize that from around this area of emanation, but not that you know very well, are in line with you. You're kind of at opposite. We'll say you're right next to each other because that makes good sense. And you see the pistol laying in front of you. It seems to be. It's kind of a strange setup. It is a pistol. From the bottom of the pistol, now that you're close enough, is a cable, a thick cable, attaching it to the table. You also see that cable is loading it with ammunition. So it can come off the table about 4 feet, but you can't walk away with it. As you move it any direction other than downrange, you hear a click as the safety goes on. So it can only be fired downrange, and it's auto ammoed from the bottom.
That's pretty spiffy. You gotta, make sure keeping safe with all these kids around.
Yeah, that's the idea. It actually kind of strikes Frenchie as odd because that's a lot of thought to go into something like this. But it's obviously something that has been done quite a bit because these are well-used pistols. If they even fire straight, it would be surprising to you.
Well, Frenchie has been just, kid in a candy store this whole time. Just a huge grin, just looking around, seeing all the happiness, the laughter, the joy that everybody's having. And so as he's kind of waiting in line, he's excited. He sees the care that went into these pistols in the game and making sure that he was injured. And he knows that pistols aren't his forte, but you know what? You might as well give it a shot and see what Lady Luck has in store today. And so when it comes into his time, he's going to take the pistol in hand. Is it just one pistol, or are there multiple side by side, or?
So it's one. Well, okay. So there's 6 pistols, but there's 6 people in line. Like 6 people in a line. So there's 1 pistol per person. Okay.
So Frenchie's going to wait to make sure that he and No One are in the same group that's going up together.
So you are, and you're right next to each other.
Oh, even better.
So it's the 2 of you, and then it's 4 people that you recognize but don't recognize. Like people that you probably were like, "Oh, hey, morning," but you never learn their name. You don't know them. And they look like they're gunning to win. So it's going to be a D10 plus your skill in handgun, and you're trying to reach a certain number. So the targets are 7 to 12 meters away. They're about 10 meters away. And so the target you're trying to hit is 15.
So I rolled already.
Yep.
And I rolled a little early.
Yep.
I'm going to keep that roll.
That makes sense.
Can you hear me through my mic, though?
That's
Yes.
an interesting question. Can you nod, Mark? If you can hear her. Yeah, you hear her voice. Okay.
Okay.
Because I don't show up in the currently speaking like.
You do to me.
Me too.
Then yay.
Okay. All right. So as they line up a shot, no one's shot is right on the mark and hits a one of the glass bottle holograms, and you can see it shatter. And the robot cowboy goes, "Yeehaw! We got ourselves a winner! Keep shooting, Tex." Most of the other people, they fired off 3 shots and either got frustrated or just walked away. You know that you have to get 6. You have to make 6 shots with your gun, and the higher the number, the better. Frenchie is having a good time, and he fires down range, and you can see the bullet ping off the ballistic gel, but it stays inside the ballistic gel at the back of the container. It missed, but he's still happy. So
Successfully hit the ballistics gel. Yes.
Yep. So I'm gonna have you guys shoot one more time, and then I'm gonna skip to Bishop and Hector. So make me one more shot. Yep. So this time Hector takes it a little bit more seriously, lines up his shot, and hits a can that was Fogo's beans.
I don't think you meant Hector.
What did I say?
Hector.
Oh, yeah, Frenchie. Thank you. Frenchie takes it a little more seriously and hits a holographic can of beans, and it pings off to the side and disappears into digitized holographic atoms. No one kind of gets a little intimidated at that shot, and nicks, it passes right next to a can that she was aiming at, or that they were aiming at. Just barely missing.
Didn't mean to throw off your shot. Sorry.
It's all good. That was me.
Can I ask an outside the game question?
Sure.
Am I allowed to partake in the pistol shooting contest as well?
So, you absolutely can. The whole point, part of that, okay, so out of game, the whole point of this is for people to get practice and people to do things. So,
gotcha.
and to learn the rules. So if you are paying attention to them shooting, and that's all the practice that you need is to know how the shooting works, because we're going through it, and that's fine. Awesome. If you legitimately try to want to win this prize,
kind of do.
And take a chance after your stuff, that's totally cool too. The whole point of this kind of tutorial night is to make sure that you guys get all of the experience you need with the different rule sets, so that when we go into the live game, you guys are hard charging and good to go.
All right.
Story wise, it would kind of not make sense for your character not to do this one. Right? Okay.
Right.
All right, so skipping back to Bishop and Hector, and I apologize for messing up names. That's going to happen a little bit until we start getting into the groove of things. I also expect that we are all going to start picking up the slang and using the slang significantly more over the next couple months. But it is Bishop and Hector. So both of you move into that room. And there is some kind of thick, viscous fluid dripping up from the floor. And where is it? Oh, I'm on the wrong page. I'm moving back and forth too fast. I was on 2. Okay, and it was that one. All right, so I need, if possible, well, not if possible, I need another interface plus speed from both of you. Please.
I forgot the exclamation point. I'll get it next time.
It's all a learning process. You want above a 10, which both of you should be able to do fairly easily with speed on. Roll a 1, Mark. Roll a 1. Roll a 1!
I did not roll a 1.
Okay, so as you guys are moving into this room, you recognize, though you haven't seen the program written in this way, you recognize this as a super glue attack program. If it had hit you, or if it had acted before you to hit you, it would lock you in place so that you could not jack out, which would extend the amount of time that you're spending in the network interface. But both of you are able to kind of bypass this section of the glue as it's moving up from the floor to the ceiling. It started off slowly, but as you are moving through the room, with your Speedy Gonzalez like speed, it starts dripping more and more and more and more until it is full glue from the floor to the ceiling, like melted plastic. Okay, so give me 5 minutes really quick. Take a break if you need to. I will be right back.
Must say, the yeehaw earlier was really funny.
What yeehaw?
For the shooting.
From Daniel.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty awesome. That was a good shot.
It was a very good shot.
So who's playing the background music?
Daniel is.
Cool.
Okay, sorry about that.
He needs a GM IP.
Yeah, in the game, around this time, every game, we're gonna be doing the same thing. Can I have a little? All right. So, you're both able to bypass. Now, please keep in mind that while I am saying you both are able to bypass certain levels and certain floors, you won't know where your other netrunner is inside the net architecture. I haven't decided yet if a Pathfinder action will let you know where your other netrunner is, but right now you have no idea unless they broadcast you and tell you.
I have a question.
Yes.
About what we just encountered. So right now, this thing, tried to grab us. It didn't. Are we able to just go past it now, or do we still have to deal with it? Okay.
Yep. There are other things it could do, but that it's not meant to do it for this. She specifically set it up to trap you guys.
Got it.
So you pass it without a net action. You both still have all of your net actions.
Okay, great.
So I'm going to go with the same order as before, and I'm going to go with Hector first. You guys move to the end of this room, past the large, now kind of lava lamp of melted plastic and glue, and you see another kitten behind bars, and this one's sticking her tongue out at you with her head kind of cocked to the side. Another password block covering the door to the next room.
Well then, I shall try to backdoor this one as well.
Okay, so go ahead and make the roll for me, which is an interface check.
Got it.
Okay. It takes you a little bit, but you actually are able to find the password. Like, you're almost ready to take a break on it and give it a second and try it, like, leave it and try it again. It's a brute force, but you're able to break it out, and you see the cat kind of, her eyes turn into X's, and she turns into a zombie cat head that pushes through the bars and runs at you and then dissipates.
Okay. In that case, I go ahead and broadcast the password to Bishop and then move on to the next room.
Okay, so you broadcast, you backdoor and broadcast and move into the next room, and you still have a net action, but I'm going to jump to Mark and then back to you so that the broadcast is happening.
For sure.
Okay, so I will enter the passcode, which will take me a net action, but not a roll.
Okay.
And then I will activate. Sword, and a giant long katana appears in my hand. That's incredibly thin but incredibly long. And then I will move down to the next level.
All right, so you activated sword move. So both of you have one additional action, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you technically got into the room first, Hector, but I'll describe it to both. You see what looks like a so I'm going to describe it, but this is different than the one in the book. As we go through this game, the way some things are described in the books, the way that some programs are described in the books, different programmers modify them in different ways so they have slightly different looks or have slightly different jobs, right? So,
Marvel.
That includes your guys' stuff too. So as I am describing some of the layouts of these networks, I could describe exactly how it says in the book. It's an elevator, the door is open, you go and do this thing, get back in the elevator, go to the next. I don't find that as
get up here.
entertaining as actually describing different rooms that people program around their network. Even if it's a copy and paste that you find throughout the city, I want to describe that as a GM because it helps my story. That being said, you guys the doors open, and in front of you, you can see a dais far behind you with a glowing star that's moving. Sorry, my hand was way above the camera. It's rotating. Obviously, it's the end point that you need to get to. Between you and that is a gigantic kraken. This is a giant Cthulhu-like squid beast with tentacles that are flapping all over the place. Under normal circumstances, this is not a good thing. A normal Kraken program is a deadly black ice. It does 3d6 damage directly to your brain and prevents you from getting deeper into the architecture or jack out safely until it's de-rezzed. This Kraken is bright pink, has a cat-like face with two bows and small ponytail ears, and it's going meow meow with cute meow meows as it's trying to grab you. You have a feeling that this is a specific Kraken for this race and won't do damage directly to your brain. It may still de-res some parts, and it might jack you out, but you doubt it's going to do damage to you. Or you doubt it's going to do damage to your brain. So, everybody roll. So for right now, you cannot slide past a Kraken, and we have to roll for interface.
Interface plus speed, or just interface?
Sorry. Interface plus speed plus 1d10. All right. So, you have a higher reflex because you're a person and it doesn't have a reflex. So it will end up being Bishop, then Hector, then the Kraken. Each of you has one more net action, I believe, and then we'll switch back to the other group. So this is your hero moment to move in and activate your weapons and take your strike.
Actually, I already activated my weapon, so I'm just going to take my strike.
Right.
So what do I need to roll?
All right, so it is going to be. Let me see where your sword is.
It's
Okay,
three.
so sword. A sword is an attack of 1.
Okay.
So you will roll an interface check with an attack of 1, and I will roll a defense check. And my defense is a D10 plus my defense. I don't get interface. I don't get any of that stuff.
So it's with an attack of 1. Does that mean it adds 1 to my?
It adds 1 to your interface check. Yes.
Okay, got it. So he rears back and attacks with lightning fast speed at the Kraken.
So the Kraken attempts to maneuver its body and squiggly arms out of the way. You now note that as it's putting its arms up, instead of suckers, you see a bunch of little cat paw icons, like up and down the bottoms of its many legs, as it's trying to move out of the way. But you still hit it, so go ahead and roll damage.
And that's considered black ice, correct?
It is, while it isn't dangerous black ice, it is absolutely considered black ice. It's actually considered anti-personnel black ice, if that makes a difference.
So, just to get it straight, I'm looking at a Hello Cthulhu kitty?
So you aren't. You can't
But
see
they
this.
are.
They
Yes.
are, yeah.
They're fighting Hello Cthulhu kitty.
Yes.
Kind of, yeah.
Nice.
Kind of.
And so do the D6s explode or no?
No.
Okay. So 11.
All right. That's not bad.
Out of curiosity, in this instance, are damage rolls combining?
So, what I was trying to say before is, right, you are each in your own instance, and you both see this Kraken, and you're both alone with the Kraken, right?
Right.
If you hadn't been sharing, and let's say you got caught in the super glue, and Bishop made it to the Kraken, he's facing the Kraken alone. Okay?
Right.
However, with both of you in the room with the Kraken makes attacks against both of you, but only has 30 res for both of you.
So if I were to hit, I'm dealing at 11 damage plus whatever damage he does as well.
Right. So this round, it'll take 11 damage from him and whatever damage you have.
If I connect.
So if you connect. And so it's attacking both of you and can do damage to both of you, but the threat is lower because you're in a team. And this is the kind of stuff that your character, as we discussed in the character creation, is pretty familiar with. This is going to be the type of thing that when teams of netrunners come in, they're used to fighting threats together and apart.
Okay. Would you like me to roll?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, please. Okay. Are you using bandhammer or sword?
I am using sword.
Okay.
And do I stipulate now for luck?
Yes, please. If you're going to be using luck, let me know that you're using that with your roll.
Okay, I plan on using luck.
Okay.
And I'm going to use 3 points. No.
Okay, now I have to roll defense.
Great success.
This soft plushy kitten octopus is not a good fighter. You are able to, you're fairly certain that as you are slicing down, it's moving out of your way, but one of its other legs kind of moves right into where you're slicing down anyway. And go ahead and roll damage. That's
right.
Creepy Mark. Good choice. But you shouldn't have it changing right now. It should be your Netrunner face. Okay, 6 damage. As you slice into it. Now being the Kraken's turn, It is going to roll an attack, and you guys would be for defense. You would be. Your interface plus 1d plus 1d10, and if you have any additional defense stuff from other stuff. Now, armor lowers all brain damage you receive by 4 as long as the program remains res. Only one copy of this program can be run. Each copy of this program can only be used once per net run. Okay. So just in case it is doing brain damage to you, you would take less brain damage.
Right.
Okay. I think it's going to do brain damage now. Now that both of you have armor up.
Of course it is.
Okay, so I'm going to make my attack roll for against each of you. This first one's going to be against Bishop. And keep in mind, it is a heavy black ice. So it hits you, Bishop. Mm-hmm. And you feel the armor around you that your icon is wearing, like it beefs itself. Oh, sorry, Bishop. Yeah. You feel the armor that your stick figure icon kind of put on, the neon armor covering its lower frame and the neon hat it was wearing. De-reses.
Okay.
And you can feel it wrap its heavy tentacle around your icon, and it's. You can almost feel the programming, the dormant programming, wanting to hit your brain, but it's not injuring you. It's just holding you in place.
Okay.
And now for Hector.
Okay, I'll roll.
So you're gonna roll an interface check. Yep. And it does the same thing to you, Hector. You can feel the tentacle wrap around your icon, your armor de-reses, and it's kind of crushing your icon. It's not really doing damage, but it's crushing your icon and holding you in place. And we're going to cut to Frenchie, and actually we're going to cut to Billy. Sorry, let me take a breath. Are you there, Nate the Rocker Boy?
Indeed.
It is your turn, my friend. You make your way through the crowd over to this group of probably 6 or 7 people. There is a fire barrel that has a grate on top of it. They're cooking some kind of, it looks like maybe a sausage, but I don't know how well you trust that. But they're talking and they're sharing something out of a large bottle, some kind of alcohol, smelly alcohol out of a large bottle, and making bets as you walk up.
Before I interact with these bookies, I must insist you give us another meow meow sound.
Meow meow meow.
Nicely done. So, can Nate identify? Are all 6 of them around this fire barrel? Are they all making bets, or just one guy?
So they're talking about it and they're laughing about stuff, and right now it seems they're making bets on 3 of the people that are participating. No one, Frenchie, and the guy at the end, who, while not really, it doesn't seem like he's really focused. Yeah, he is actually doing fairly well. And maybe out of the 6 of them, 3 of them are legitimately betting, and the other 3 are just heckling.
Okay, well, rarely does Nate touch a strange sausage, so he's going to walk up to these guys next to their fire barrel, and I think no one wants to say something, but he's going to approach them and just sort of, get up to them and make sure that they're okay with him being there. Assume they don't shoo him away. He's just going to say, "Hey guys, what y'all doing here? What you cooking?"
Hey, ain't you? And one of them. One of the older guys is like thinking about it, and then one of the women like elbows him, and she says, "Well, we're having some of these sausages. I got a deal on them at the place." And she winks at you, and she says, "They're mostly beef, mostly." But what's ours is yours, friend. And you can tell that she recognized you, but she's one of those older ladies that doesn't know if you, because you're obviously on hard times, if you like being reminded of when you were in a better spot.
Well, he's got no problem with cougars, so he's going to actually inch a little closer and say, "Well, a nice sausage, I see. You see those people up there? You're making bets on them, right? You know, I have a funny feeling that maybe one of those guns, or maybe all of them, might be a bit rigged. What do you say? Which one's the best one to use?" And I'm actually going to have some eddies. Are they physical eddies, or like coins or something, or how does that work? A cred stick or what?
So, they are in most cases, money is digital. So you have a cred stick or cred chip where you dial in a certain number of eddies and you touch tips and it transfers the eddies across the different sticks.
Okay.
However, there are also cash eddies, like the ones that are rolled up in the safe at the shooting range.
Well, so I'll have it on my eddy stick or whatever, and I'll have, like, I don't know what a proper number might be, but he's basically going to persuade her or them to sort of reveal what they might know about what is or isn't rigged about either the guns or the entire endeavor itself. And he's going to have like 50 shown on his stick, just kind of casually looking at her and sort of moving his hair back a little bit. And he's like, "Yeah, I think maybe you might be able to eat better tomorrow if, you pass a little info my way."
Okay, so give me a persuasion. And actually, give me a persuasion and a gamble.
I took gamble away because I had to read my points.
Then just persuasion.
Okay. I don't have that macroed one. Stand by. There you go.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. She kind of smiles at you and says, "What do you think, boys?" And the one that's turning sausages says, I think the fourth gun is probably the worst one of them. We haven't seen one shot all night make it on that fourth gun. Now, the first two, we think those are probably the best of them, and those are the ones we're betting the most on, because the people who line up with those first two are the ones that have been hitting when they hit. But that number, and he leans over and he doesn't touch it, but he indicates your credit stick. He says, "That's way rich for our blood, son. That's music money right there. That's bath money. You take a bath? You take a bath, son?" And then the two of the older timers laugh. And you obviously you can put two and two together. They probably haven't seen a bath in years, because everything is a small shower stall in a shared connex with everybody. Not an open shower. There are private shower stalls in this big building. You're in Dixie. What do you want?
Right. So I will still indicate to the 50 on the Eddie stick and say, "Why don't you put this down for me? I plan on using that first gun."
You plan on using the first gun?
Yeah.
What do you think you'll make? We haven't seen more than two, three hits at max.
I'm going to lean in real close to the lady. I'm going to look her dead in the eye and say, "Midnight always wins." And I'm going to hold the stick to try to connect to hers to try to transfer that money.
She'll blush, but she'll hold the stick out.
Yeah, he'll do it. Transfer the money over. And okay. I want to know, because we all know each other or have known each other, do we all have radio comms? Like, can I just contact No One and or Frenchie?
Okay, almost no one took radio comms. That being the case, go ahead, Fixer.
Okay, so I did. I have a set of 4, so I'm not gonna hand those to the people that are about to get their brain fried by Hello Kitty. Nate and Frenchie?
Oh, this is something you would have had to have agreed upon and handed out beforehand.
So
Okay,
I have
I
one
didn't-
already.
But Nate has one already, and you probably have yours in since you have one, and it's
Yeah, I
connected
have
to your
one in.
agent.
Okay.
So it would not be, as she is the fixer, if any of you know any of you, all of you know no one.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
all of you know no
My
one.
plan is after I give the A and sort of nod, and I'll kind of like, kind of grin as I'm sort of repositioning like my collar or whatever, like I'm being real confident about it. I'm going to make my way away from the bookies heading toward the line. And as I do, I'm going to get on the radio comm to no one and say, stay off the fourth one. It's the bad one.
I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm gonna like.
So I don't know if we need to rewind really quick, but just so that you know,
Don't shoot at the
No.
fourth one.
no one is on the first one.
Okay.
Frenchie is on the second one.
That's right. They're already shot. Okay. That
They're
makes sense.
they're in the process of shooting. There's like 3 blank ones, and then there's one on the other one on the far end is the other one that they're kind of betting on maybe because while he's not experienced, he's a young kid who wants it more.
Okay. In that case, retcon, I'll say,
Yeah.
Tell our buddies to stay off the fourth gun. It's rigged. And then I'll make my way up to the line. But when I go to the line, I want to make sure, because there's other people there, I want to make sure that I time it to where I end up on the first gun. So if I think I'm going to be on like the second gun or like, before it or whatever, I'm going to let like the old lady behind me to go ahead of me. I'm basically going to just let people cut me until I know I can get that first gun.
Okay. Cool.
Thank you.
Cool.
Am I sitting at the first or second?
You are at the first gun. Frenchie is at the second
Yeah.
gun, which are the 2 guns they're pretty sure are the best of the lot. They're all cheap guns, but those 2 have been hitting more frequently when they hit.
So I know Nate well enough to know he's not telling me to make sure I don't shoot the person in the fourth row, right?
You understand that what he's saying is the fourth gun is either rigged or broken.
Okay.
Make sure that if Bishop or Hector
Head that way
Head
to
that way,
steer them
steer
other
them
way.
away from the fourth one. Yeah.
Okay.
Bingo.
And go ahead and you 2 make another 2 shots for me.
Okay. I am going to...
You and Frenchie. I need to be more specific. I do like that catchphrase as well. If you need to know anyone, know no one.
Oh, I thought you meant don't ever touch a strange sausage.
That's a good catchphrase anyway.
Yes.
Okay, we can add that to our list of group catchphrases.
Who's taking notes?
Mark always takes
That's all
notes.
amazing.
I don't think he's taking notes right now.
I am
Because
not
better
taking
be.
notes right now.
I will take
Is it
this
because
note.
of the tutorial or because of the...
Never take.
Because
never
it's tutorial.
touch.
Okay. Never touch a strange sausage.
Oh, I left my notebook.
You did.
Oh.
Plus, I'm being squeezed by Hello Kitty Cthulhu Octopus.
You really are. And I wasn't using that name specifically because I wasn't sure if we were going to get in trouble to using it.
No, talking about it's fine.
Okay.
We're not selling it.
Sorry, I have to go back and forth a little bit. 73. I made myself a cheat sheet for the rulebook for what pages are where. There is a very good index at the back of the book that is clickable for anybody that needs it. Just to let you know. All right, so a 12 and a 17, and then 2 more, please, from Bishop and Frenchie, not Bishop and Frenchie, from No One and Frenchie, and I will describe. You gonna roll it? Naomi? Roll me another one. You guys are taking 2 shots, and then we're going to the other.
I was taking it.
Ah.
I was unaware.
You can also press up to go through the commands that you've already typed. Yep. You're welcome. Jeez Louise. Get out of my face!
She is a damn good shot. Excuse me, they are a damn good shot. Sorry.
I am, but thank you.
Alright, so as you guys are firing downrange, you note, Frenchie, that your shots are going a little wide to the right almost every time. It took you a couple shots to get it lined up, but you're recognizing it now because you're accustomed to being around firearms, maybe not as much handguns, but you're accustomed to them enough to know when something is not lined up properly. The gun number 1 seems to have no problems, as no one shoots down a can of peas that explode in small fireworks, and then another bottle that spins up into the air and shatters. And you can see the robot say, "Hi-ho, cowboy! Hi-ho, cowboy! You're sure are shooting hot tonight." And then he puts his hand up in like a grip motion, and a glass or hologram of a glass of Sudsco beer, which is one of the Vendit beers you can get around here. Obviously, an advertisement. He says, "Make sure you pour one out for yourself tonight." And then he pops the holographic lid and pours the holographic liquid into his projection screen. His projection screen mouth, yeah. And says, "Wow, you're doing great. Nate, as this is all happening around the same time, you're hearing a whole bunch of guffaws and actually cheers from the people you were talking to before, because it seems that no one is firing quite a bit, like maybe one of the top counts so far. All right, skipping
Nice.
back to Bishop and Hector.
So no one can roll well, but 3 is gonna die.
Yep. Wait, 198. Back to 198. Okay. As you guys are facing off against the Cthulhu Kitty, it is your turns again. You have your 3 net actions.
And are we sticking with the turn order we had before, or do we need to roll again?
No, so we're going to skip the turn order we had before. So it'll go, what was it before? Bishop, Hector, and then the Cthulhu Kitty?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what it'll be this time too.
Okay, so for my first action, my face turns mad like this, and then he makes a wide stance, and
well, your avatar is still up off the ground.
yeah, he's still gonna like he's doing a stance,
Okay.
and then a black mist will eke out of him and form at the foot of the Hello Kitty, and it is a Japanese demon that is killer, and I believe it has its own actions.
So, activating killer, it takes a initiative point. It has an action right now on your turn.
Mm-hmm.
Then it takes an initiative point 1 higher than the current highest initiative, and acts at that initiative.
Okay. So,
Although it may not need to. That's a pretty wicked sick one. That was expensive.
yes.
So how did you describe it one more time?
It's a Japanese demon, an oni.
An oni. Okay.
Yeah, it
That
comes
was
out-
that. It was that word I was looking for. Thank you.
Yep. And
So
it's going to breathe fire on it, basically,
okay.
for its fluff attack.
So it's going to be it does not use your interface rating. It uses its own attack rating. So it's going to be a 6 plus D10.
10 plus 6. So 10. 10 to hit.
As the flame from the Oni burns over the skin, you can see that there's a sheen to this kraken skin that the fire isn't able to penetrate.
Okay.
And that was your net action. That was one net action.
Right.
Was activating it.
The second one is to activate my sword again, and it appears. I mean, even though I'm held by this, I can still attack it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't. It holding you is fluff.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so then the sword will appear in my hand, and I will use it to try and free myself.
And that's going to be a 5.
Right. Which
Your interface plus 1.
make road. Sword. Oh, roll.
Okay. And you hit. So go ahead and roll damage.
And 6.
I'm pushing control because that's my push to talk, but I don't have push to talk. You slice into the arm, and you're able to actually slice it completely through. There is now a decapitated tentacle that is completely solid over with small bits of black smoke from your sword, and as the piece of it that was wrapped around you falls to the ground, it bursts into digitized pixels and disappears, and you're now standing on the ground next to the kind of flailing meow meow kitty, and it is Hector's turn.
Just so I understand, you're saying there's no more Cthulhu Kitty?
No, there is. Sorry. The arm that was holding him is no more.
Gotcha.
Cthulhu Kitty is still flailing around and still has you, and is now flailing you around as well.
Perfect. In that case,
Which doesn't do anything except fluff.
I will also roll to attack with sword.
Okay. Wow,
Oops.
it's 11 is 10 for me.
That's not great.
Aw.
That is not great. You could still zap it.
No, I'm good.
Okay. You still have actions though.
Right.
And Mark
So,
still has
I guess I'm confused. Are you
He was
rolling
giving
the
us-
defense?
Oh,
So
sorry.
I
when
see
you
it. I saw the 10 now. Yeah. Sorry. In that case, now I'm going to do Banhammer.
Okay. So you're gonna make your roll, and then I will also make a defense roll, just like before. There you go. And so now your damage is 2d6, correct?
Yes.
Because this is black ice. And as you bring the hammer down, however you... Actually, why don't you describe it? You finished it off, barely. So why don't you go ahead and describe it?
So you see basically a part of my character, like the legs seem to kind of disappear, or at least the pants seem to go hollow, and out of my hands, like this, at first kind of like sandy thing coalesces and hardens, and the spaces kind of disappear until you have like a rock solid, not granite, but it's kind of sandstone, brownish looking hammer that extends straight out of my hand. And I use that to smash Hello Kitty right in the face.
As you hit it, right in its cute little meowing mouth, it bursts into billions of pixels. You drop to the ground in like a superhero pose, or at least your icon does. And the room you're in is a enormous, almost like cathedral style room. At the back of the room is a dais with a floating star. So what I would like from both of you is to make interface reflexes checks as you both rush to the star.
So interface plus reflex?
It's going to be an interface check with your reflexes.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be obtuse. So add our reflex to our interface?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm just making sure
Your
I'm rolling
reflex,
the right thing.
your interface doesn't normally have an attribute associated to it.
Right. Equals... So 4 plus 1. 8.
Am I rolling 1d10 plus interface plus reflex?
Yeah, so your roll is going to be has the chance to be much higher.
Yep, much higher.
And does this also include Speedy Gonzalez? I guess it doesn't really matter.
No, this won't include Speedy Gonzalez.
And don't forget to put the exclamation point.
All right.
Keep on going, partner.
How about that?
Wow. You both rush towards the star, not knowing where the other person is, and you both reach up and hit the star at the exact same moment. Very movie like, and the star energizes your icon, and you see a countdown timer in front of your vision, and a safe, and you see that what you usually see, which is a small notification at the bottom of your screen that says now safe to log out, indication on the bottom of your screen, and you hear Jailbreak Jenny say, "Oh my gosh, how preem was that, viewers? Both of these netters just ran through the whole thing and it hit the star at the exact same second." And she pulls up the timers, which you can now see as you're jacking out. Well, I mean, you could see it before because you're technically wearing augmented reality glasses, right?
Right.
Your scores are very nearly close. But you see Bishop's score is a little bit higher because he did a little bit more damage to the Kraken, but not by much at all. They're like a difference of maybe 20 points. And you can also see that Hector has a small icon next to his score, meaning that he was a higher speed through most of the net architecture. So that obviously there's a whole bunch of factors going into who's going to win this thing. She says, ladies and gentlemen, let's thank our net runners for this moment. We'll see who else shows up for this evening. So thank you to Bishop and there's a frozen thing as she's thinking over the name again, and Hector.
Yay.
And then you see that it seems like the neon lights that were around the floating drone camera die down, and the icon appears in that same screen, the icon for Jailbreak Jenny, and she says, "Thanks again, guys. I will be contacting you on your agents as soon as we hear as soon as we have a winner for this evening."
Sounds good. Thanks, Jenny.
Sweet.
Thanks for participating. As always, if you need any jobs done, Jailbreak Jenny's the way to go.
And I'll step aside and I'll say, Hector, good run, man.
Hey, right back at you. Thanks for the save with the password.
Thank you for the first password. Oh, hold on.
Okay. As you guys are kind of walking back to the shooting range,
I don't know what
you see that
never
it looks like
gone in the house.
where most of the people would give up and walk away. There are 3 people still in line, still shooting, and it is no one, Frenchie, and some rando guy at the end that actually seems to be putting up a good fight.
Can I make my way downtown walking
So-
fast?
So there's a pretty long line going between them. If you're going up to visit, then yes, but otherwise, you'll have to wait your turn, sir.
I am happy to wait my turn.
So what happened? Oh wait, if we move the gun away from our target area,
The
it goes on
safety,
safety.
the safety clicks on. Yeah,
Okay, so no shooting the competition.
that's right.
Okay.
Almost as if that was on purpose.
Yeah, you would think.
Seems like
The
this
2.
has probably happened before once or twice.
Yep.
It's like they heard of me, but not of no one. Just me, the player.
You do see, both of you, when looking around at between taking your shots, you do see that behind the player that's at the end, the bigger guy that's kind of just shooting and is not really doing well, but he is being confident. Behind him are a group of 4 children waiting to take their turns. It is now you guys. If you can give me 2 more checks each, please. Click in the box, the rolling box, and press up.
It doesn't.
He's coming with technical support. It's not gonna let me.
We figured.
Alright, so roll 20
Yeah.
and press up.
The arrow. Oops. Yeah, that was my bad. Oh man.
So my first shot, I got the 16. I'll give you a second.
Our second
Headphones
shots
back
were
on.
not so good.
Nope.
Not so good.
So my first shot was the 16, and the second shot was a natural 1. So I rolled an
Ooh.
additional d10 and subtracted. So 8 minus 5 gives me the total of down to a 3. Excuse me, not a 5.
Oof. I had a 17 and then a 14. So 14 still doesn't hit though. Oof, it's mean.
All right, so Frenchie, you mute Nanny. Okay, Frenchie, you take your first shot, and you hit. It is a small beanbag-like creature that looks kind of like a clown, and it falls backwards. It actually, you hit so center field, it falls back and breaks off, and you can see the hologram fall to the ground and dissipate. Your second one, the shot actually hits the back wall and ricochets outside the ballistic gel and tags the robot cowboy. And there's a series of sparks, and he leans over and he goes, "Oh, careful there, Tex. I don't think you should be shooting anymore. Pew, 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 pew." Like he points at you with his robot fingers and goes, "Pew, pew, 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 pew."
Or was it on purpose?
I am hoping that's not the case.
Say you're trying to make other people feel better, so you totally did that on purpose.
Exactly.
No one. Your first shot was amazing, and you hit another glass bottle that shattered into a million tiny pixels. Your second shot, while close, didn't hit anything. You still have one of the best scores. As the 6 shots ring out, you can hear the gun spooling down and reloading, and he says, "Well, thank you all for your tries. We'll keep your registrations on hand, and we'll let you know if you did well enough to get that there purse." And he says, "Especially you, insert name here. You did great." And he kind of and whatever shot that Frenchie hit him with definitely did something to his programming. But he kind of waves you guys off so that the next 6 can take their shot.
I'm gonna get Google ads for guns like crazy, aren't I?
Well, Google's not a thing, but
No,
yes.
okay, but whatever the thing is.
Prepare your inbox.
It'll be on my feed, like, everywhere. Recruiting crap.
So probably not, because guns are illegal here.
Recruiting, then.
All right. So you guys are done with that, and you move out of the way. I'm gonna say that you guys stand off to the side because you see that Nate and then Hector are in line.
So Frenchie's gonna actually take no one and treat them to a celebratory. What was the beer? The slurp beer that he was having?
Yeah.
Sweet! Alcohol. Yay.
You guys have had it here and there. It's not great when warm. When it's cold, you can barely taste it, which is how it's better. But you find a dealer that's selling them pretty cheap. Actually, no, you find a dealer that's got them for free. You just have to tab the vending machines to drop those out for you.
The more you drink, the better it tastes.
That is also true. Okay, Nate, you were in line earlier than Hector. You could wait in line if you wanted to shoot against Hector. Otherwise, you're going to hit it first by a couple.
So I had a few questions for you.
Noted, Bishop. So we'll say you got in line right behind Hector since you guys were together.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead, Nate.
So am I in the same group as Hector and Bishop or no?
So right now, you're not.
Okay.
You are about 8 or 9 people ahead of them in line.
Okay. Is Nate able to time it to where he gets the first gun? Does he think he's going to do that?
So there's a line that is a single line, and then it breaks out into 6 lines. So it's pretty easy for you to just wait for a spot at the first gun. That's not a problem.
So the next question I have is, and it was during No One and Frenchie's shots, Nate is going to make sure his amplified hearing cyberware is on because he wants to be able to see if there's any gears in this mechanism that moves these things on this firing line that he could see or tell a pattern of behavior to where he can tell that maybe there's something weird about them or somehow he can detect a flaw or maybe there's something that jerks back and forth that makes it to where it's so difficult. Maybe it's not just the guns, but maybe it's the mechanism itself.
So while I can appreciate your idea, do you have any skills in basic mechanics or weapon tech? Or like basic tech or weapon tech?
Well, he has basic tech, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So the reason I say that is because if you're looking for certain specific sounds of machinery and stuff, and you have no work with any machinery, you're not going to be able to recognize what sounds like what. Mm-hmm. But you do have an average level of understanding and basic tech. So that's super fun. So as you are listening in to these guns being fired, and you're tuning in and pointing, you note that it is hard for you to filter some of these sounds because overall this festival is extremely loud. it's loud anyway, even for somebody that doesn't have tuned in hearing. But as you kind of focus, give me a concentration check, please.
Okay.
To be able to focus on those specific areas.
Right. I was ready with perception, but you threw me a curveball.
So,
Oops, I forgot
wow.
the exclamation point.
That's fine. That's a very good roll. So you pretty easily filter out all of the sounds of the festival to be able to focus on that area. So go ahead and roll a perception check to listen to those weapons specifically. The first 4.
Add 2 to that because I forgot to put +2 for hearing.
To add 2 to that. As you are getting closer to the front of the line, you're hearing the guns and how they're hitching or how they're loading. You can hear as the second gun fires, there is a slight hitch. And while you don't have actually you do now, have pretty good training with handguns, you would guess that that pistol probably fires to the left or to the right. By a little bit, maybe even up and down, because it's not going to be firing straight based on the sounds that you're hearing from the inner mechanisms. 4 isn't even firing. Like it's clicking and there's a bang, but no bullets are coming out.
Right.
Did he go to 4 and I didn't warn him?
No.
So he Nate specifically told you to tell Bishop and Hector not to go to 4.
I did, right?
No, you didn't. No one has told them that, and no one needs to because it's funny.
But you just said no one told them that, so I obviously did.
I am now seeing a flaw in my plan.
I simply said I was just passing on the info, is all.
It's easily fixed by saying, "Oh no, no one dies in this game."
Ooh. Touche. So,
okay, so and it's kind of hard to hear guns 5 and 6, but you hear 4 isn't even firing. 3 seems to be firing okay. So, but 1 looks like it's the one that was taking care of the best, or has not seen as much damage. You're guessing 4 has been dropped and hit against the table and some other stuff. It may not even be loaded. You're not entirely sure. But 1 and 3 look like they fire just fine. 2 is definitely having some aiming issues, and you're not sure on 5 and 6.
well, he's definitely going to stick with 1 unless he thinks 2 is better. But as he approaches the gun, assuming that he's going to soon, he's also going to use his teleoptics. It's not a matter of aiming. It's not a matter of offsetting that, but he wants to be able to zoom in slightly so he has an even better chance of getting the target. Given now that he's been able to hear a little bit better, he's hoping that might help. So if I get up to the gun, I'll make a roll.
So the teleoptics, I don't think that gives you an additional benefit in firearms.
No, it's for aim shots, or long distance shots.
Okay.
But it's cyberware that I'm just using.
Fluff wise.
Yeah,
Fluff-wise, absolutely. I was just going to say...
No, I'm not expecting give me a cookie or nothing. I just...
Giving you a bonus for this purpose is a dangerous precedent.
No, I'm not saying that. It's not a smart link. I'm just...
Okay. No, awesome. So you focus in as you step up to the route with 5 kind of knowing strangers. You do note that the holographic wall behind the holographic the shelves that have holographic cans and bottles and puppets and that kind of stuff all flicker and reset. They're all like a bluish color to show that they are holograms. But all of them are, I should have said this earlier, and I apologize to no one in Frenchie. They're all modeled after actual goods that you can find, but in the theme of the old style carnival games. Okay. So you stand up, and you can see that behind you. Yes, I can hear that. About 6 people behind. You see Bishop and Hector standing behind you. Both of you, Bishop and Hector, are now close enough that you can get you can see kind of how the setup is that you're being funneled into. After midnight shots, you'll have to decide which line you want to get into.
So, as well as like ex-military.
Maybe.
Well, Frenchie's ex-military, right?
No.
He's ex something that has to do with like fighting.
Be in the game.
I am.
No, I mean like ask him in the game. All right, so Nate, let's go ahead and get some. Oh, you're already starting. Nice.
No.
Oh no, you have other roles. So here we're gonna do this.
No, the 16 was the.
6 shots. There you go. So after this, I need 6 shots from you.
Okay. He's going to take his gun. He's going to look over at the cougar lady with the sausage and give her a wink, and then he's going to make his first shot. Bam. Then he's going to twirl his gun so that everybody can see it, and then go.
Under normal circumstances, it has a chain attaching it, or like an ammo connection point that would prevent you from twirling it.
Oh wow, doggone it.
With that roll, you make it look good anyway.
Okay, so
so you hit a can of peas and it flies off and nicks a bottle. It doesn't count for 2, but both shatter, and you see the bottle flicker and come back into place. And the cowboy says, "Hey there, partner. You know that only counts for 1."
I want to look at him and say, it should count for 2. Then I want to shoot again.
Okay, go ahead. Are you
Bam.
kidding me? So, I guess Jay finally figured out how to cheat the system.
Hey, I told him.
I would like to know how to cheat the system too. Please.
And I want to look at him and say, does that one count for 2?
So as you line up your shot, you fire your second shot, and it shatters the bottle, and because it's such a lined up shot, it blows up into like this glowing yellow firework that advertises Petrochem with the what is the name of the fuel? Anthony, what's the name of the fuel?
Choom? No, Choom?
Choose something.
Choom,
Yeah.
I think. Or
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo, yeah,
There's a name for it. I can't remember what it's called, but it says Petrochem for the fuel that keeps your life moving in the fireworks of this shot. And go ahead and make your third roll.
Yeah, it is Chew 2.
So assuming he hits again, if he hits like, vegetables, he's going to say, I don't like veggies.
So as you are aiming down the line, you actually see there is a hollow mason jar with what looks like a broccoli head sticking out of it, and it explodes.
Nice. And fourth one?
Oh, with luck. Wow.
Just one. Here's the fourth one.
Okay.
Bam!
This is crazy.
I'm going to look over to the bookies and see if they're excited.
So how did the rock star become the muscle with the guns?
He's not a muscle.
He's okay. So
Sorry, he's the one with the guns.
He learned his lessons from past experience and past failures.
Oh, he also added luck to it.
Well, between the play by post and now he learned his lesson.
Right.
Yeah.
That
And
makes
he went and got some training to make sure that he could survive.
After he got defeated by a rope bridge, a door, a window, and probably a desk, and probably a potted plant, he's going to learn his damn lessons.
Damn it! I need to catch up on that.
Yeah, you need to catch up, gnomes. You need to get the program here.
A lot.
So here comes the next roll.
Oh, that's awesome.
That wasn't quite as good.
Oh, shut up, that's still passing.
It's not good enough. He's going to shrug his shoulders
15,
like, eh.
15 is passing.
He's still going to be like, eh, and kind of shrug his shoulders to the crowd, hoping that maybe he's getting some people noticing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I was actually when I was younger.
Son of a gun. Okay, all right, so one more.
Then he's going to look out at the crowd and say, "It's time. Raise your hands, ladies and gentlemen, for the final shot."
It's a final.
Bam!
So, as he says, it's time for the final shot. He doesn't even look back at the targets and pulls the trigger, and he can hear the glass shatter behind him as the bottle breaks, and you hear sirens go off. The light of the face flickers and says, well, radio, cowboy, we have ourselves here a true grit shot. And you can see that the AI is confused. And says, Nate? Well, what would you have registered under?
He probably would have just, he would have said Midnight, because this is for show, and so he's going to use a ship name.
Midnight got a full score. He'll be on our top list tonight. So make sure you're back here.
No point in shooting now. Great job, Nate.
Thank you, Bishop.
Make sure you come back here around 10 to do our winner's circle.
Actually, Nate is going to then say, "No, get here 5 minutes early for autographs."
Wow, this cowpoke has quite the ego. Pew pew pew. And he will thank the 6 people that are up, and he will tell them to put their guns down and go ahead and move along those doggies. And the next 6 will come up, and the next 6, and next 6, and next 6, and next 6. And as you, Nate, I'm assuming you're moving back to the people around the barrel.
Yeah, he's going to just saunter towards them and sort of take bows to anybody who's given him any attention whatsoever.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people that were waiting in line, and that started once you started hitting like every shot. More and more people started like stopping what they were doing and watching, because people were having issues with just the first couple shots, and you hit all of them.
Yeah,
we are like being real nice to you right now because you're probably gonna have a lot of money.
Probably. I think his biggest stat is probably ego, but yeah, he's gonna walk back towards the bookies. You can come back to me after that.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to you.
Thank you.
All right, so Bishop and Hector, you made your way to the front of the screen. Although you note that there's a handful of people that just walked away. Knowing that there was no way that they could beat that, and that was the only reason they were waiting in line, they just walked away. So you guys make your way to the front of the line.
Let's go, partner. We can do this, Hector.
Right.
You know what the funniest part is about that there, Mark? You and I have sat through a lot of troubleshooting to try to make that work. I'm not sure what you did, but it works.
So wait, can you hear me? Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Uh-oh.
So just go ahead and
Oh.
Yeah,
first round.
So we're gonna do it's gonna end up being 6 shots from both of you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I didn't realize I could have 2 instances of it open, and so I'm playing it for the stream and playing it for you guys. 2 separate outputs at the same time. But then I can't talk while I'm doing it. It
just means you have to switch back for the actions.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna write this down. Bishop and Hector. Round 1.
I'm gonna say I just created a macro, but I didn't even think about the luck, so I'm just gonna say now I'm gonna use a point of luck on my first shot.
Okay, and so we're just gonna add 1 after the fact?
Please.
Okay, no problem. Alright, so essentially... So
I need to roll a d10 again.
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't... Oh, it's
I
because
didn't
you need the exclamation point after the d10.
Good call.
We've been doing it wrong. We've been putting the exclamation point at the end. Is that
You
right?
are absolutely right, I think.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be 1d10 exclamation point.
Oh my gosh. So can he roll so well that it breaks the program and everybody gets money?
So, Bishop, you hit your first shot out the gate. You hit a bottle. It spins up into the air and breaks into a million pieces. Hector, as you are lining up your shot, actually you can describe it because that's...
I'm not even sure how I would describe it.
Yeah, that is almost as good as you could have possibly rolled. Actually, did you use a point of luck?
So it'd be 34 with the point of luck.
Thanks for saying that. I got to change my macros. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah. So after, you can also, for those of you doing macros, in a second, we'll talk to Anthony. Anthony, remember, I know he's been working macros too, and so is Jay, and so is Mark, actually. Everybody has, kind of. But there is a way to click the macro, and then it asks you a question, and then it will do the roll. It'll ask you what variable you want, and so you could have a macro where you click it, and it's going to roll a d10 with an exclamation point, but the bonus will be something it asks you for. And if you do it that way, you can put your bonus in, and if you want to use luck, you can use luck. If you want to do anything, you can do anything, and it'll still roll it for you, if that's an option for you, if that's what you want to do. Alright, so you line up your shot, Hector, and it fires through, clips the hollow projector of one of the cans, and you can see it bling off of the hollow projector, bling off of the back ballistic gel, and fling back forward, striking one of the shelves underneath another hollow projector, and both break. And you can see the robot go... Well, we have a first here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not even sure how that happened. This cow broke 2 of my targets with 1 shot. I'm not sure. And he says that like 15 more times. As you guys line up your next shots, because they flicker back on to fill up the grouping. As you guys line up your shots as they refix, you can hear him phase out, you hear a as the robot host kind of powers down. His hat falls off and lands in the dirt next to his feet, and he's well behind the table where the guns are set up. And then you hear as he powers back on, and he shakes his head, and you can see the face shake his head, and he looks down and grabs the hat and puts it back on and says, "Well, howdy, partners. Glad to see ya. Line up and take your shots." And it goes beep, 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 and
Amen.
then recalculates.
The cowpoke died. So that shot doesn't count, right?
He, as he shakes his head, you can see numbers flashing across his screen as he totals up where he was, and it essentially has a one. Where is Hector? What number is Hector on?
I don't know.
Okay, hold on. Don't be four. Okay, Hector is on 2. I'm gonna say Bishop is on 1. So it says 1 1 2 2 3 0 4 0 5 1 6 0. As it's keeping track of where everyone is with their shots. So round 2, Bishop rolled a crit failure. But I need a Hector roll for round 2.
There's a lot of effort and Anthony put into that. Copy and paste.
No, I can set up your macros for you. Hector, you take another shot. Okay, so Bishop, still kind of thrown off by what just happened with Hector next to him, lines up his shot, and the robot comes back to life right as Bishop's ready to fire, and it startles him a little bit, and the shot goes wide, blings off the metal siding and into the ballistic gel behind. Hector, though, lines up the shot, takes it, and shoots a can, which falls back behind and disappears into a million pieces. Round 3.
You distracted me by rebooting. I get a do-over on that shot, right cowpoke?
Well, that's not in the rules there, kiddo. I'm happy to see you're lined up to take your shot. Hector takes a shot, and he...
Fucker.
Oh my gosh.
This is a family firing range.
It's not a family, so you can say whatever you want, Benetton.
So that is the thing about this broadcast, is that this broadcast is an adult broadcast. We will be covering a lot of adult topics, but that was well timed and hilarious. Hector lines up his shot, and again, right through a glass bottle. This one holding a single flower, and shatters the bottle. The flower, like a feather, goes. Bishop lines up his shot, and the bullet fires downrange and hits the flower, and then hits the ballistic gel, but doesn't hit any of the
Son of a whore.
glass bottles or cans. Okay, round 4. Hey, you hit! Bishop hit! Okay, as Bishop lines up a shot and pulls the trigger, he hits a can, and the can spins up into the air and starts falling back down. Hector lines up his shot, pulls the trigger, and the bullet flies through the digitizing can, further bursting the can, and then through the bottle right behind the can. Doesn't get 2 points this time, but it's a neat trick shot that goes through and still counts for that. And the cowboy says,
Applause.
hey there, number one. You're doing great. Indicating to Bishop, who seems like he needs a little bit of a confidence boost. Round 5. $17. All right, so 17 hits and one from Bishop.
Jesus Hector, why aren't you in the military?
Just kind of look at him, raise an eyebrow, and then look back at the targets.
And no one is laughing their ass off.
As Bishop asks that question and Hector just kind of looks at him, they both turn down range, pull up their weapons, and do firing at the same time, taking out a can and a bottle that are sitting right next to each other at the same time, lining up their shots equally. Six.
I'm going to use one more point of luck on this last shot.
Okay.
So that's a 17.
Okay. As you guys line up your shots, you note that you're the only two people that are still standing at the there's still a line, but the other 4 people have already walked away. Both of you make these shots as well, lining up your shots, breathing calmly and taking it. And you hit 2 of the targets, 2 small little puppets on the bottom shelf that explode into a firework that says, enjoy squad train, the best squads for your train. And they disappear. And it doesn't say anything. There's just like a silent advertisement that pops up. As you guys finish that shot, he goes, well, that's amazing. Number 1 and number 2, ladies and gentlemen, both of you come back later for our winner's circle. A grand champion for tonight will be selected for that purse. And he points over to the, once again, safe that has the thick glass wall with all of the Eurobucks rolled up into, like you see, like you do. I'm trying to get the camera. There's the camera. The eddies that are all rolled up.
Nice, we have a chance.
I had a question really quick. Does he look like the old Diet Coke guy from the commercials?
Diet Coke guy?
Is it Diet Coke or Coke from the 80s when he was like...
That's Max Headroom. That's who Mark was talking about. That's Max Headroom.
Okay.
And no, he doesn't look like that. He looks like a kind of generic male bald face that's white, like mime white, like kind of like white like Mark's current mask, but completely white with just blue lips. And then he has a cowboy hat and a robot body that's dinged up and beat to crap.
So real creepy.
I mean, sure, but he's happy, so there's that. And then you hear him go, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to say we have had our completed circle for the winner's circle. Feel free to come up and try your best, but you'll have to wait till next year to see if you can pass the test. Thank you. Pew, 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 pew. And then rewinds back to how you saw him when you first walked up. where he's explaining the rules and telling people to stand up and take their shots. But the number of people that are in line are far less. Like, even then, more people walk away because now they don't even get a chance to be in the winner's circle for the tournament. Okay, so that's you guys done with that. You do note that you are all kind of getting a little hungry, and it is when most people got their food towards the beginning. So you do see that the lines over at the food area are emptied out a little bit. You still have to wait in line, but not as long. Nate. As you move over to the bookies, you see that they are all clapping, and they clap you on the shoulder as you're getting close, and one of them offers you a sausage on a roll, and you haven't seen bread in a while, because the pre-packed stuff is mostly like tortillas or some kind of kelp mesh, or protein mesh.
Right.
You don't see bread. You haven't seen bread for a while, and this isn't the best bread, but it isn't moldy, and it's kind of dense, but it's wrapped around a sausage. And now that you smell it, it smells like a sausage. You remember from back in the day.
Right.
When you actually had meat.
Of course. Well, he will graciously accept and, kind of accept the pats on the back and smile and such. And, as he takes the food, he's going to look at, whoever was managing the bet for him, because he wants to find out, obviously, how much he
So,
won.
you kind of stripped us of everything we had, but yeah, we got the funds together. And she, one of a guy that was the one who was cooking the sausages, one second. When he has a big wax mustache, but his beard is kind of unkempt. And he has kind of a really greasy smock that you originally thought was just his clothes, but now realize it's his apron, because he must be some kind of cook or chef or something. Probably not a chef, but you get my point.
Like a meatsmith?
Like a meatsmith. He's a meatsmith. He's
Okay.
a cyberpunk meatsmith. When he can get meat. He says, name's Dibbler, and I guess I owe you some funds. And he holds out his older. You can tell that the design of his cred ship is much older than the design of your cred ship. It almost looks like the size of a credit card, where yours is more of the size of a pen. And leans over to tap your cred stick.
And Nate tell how much he's about to get?
They didn't bet too much against you, but you dropped 50 in the pool, and you're getting 125 back.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, you're getting 125 back. So they raised 75 from what they had.
Okay. So he's gonna take the money and kind of smile. Did he say Nibbler, the meatsmith?
Dibbler.
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 Yes.
Okay. As Nate takes the money, he's gonna say, "Well, Dibbler, it's nice doing business. You can always call on me if you need some more people to count on. The name's Nate."
I don't think I need you to take more of my money, son. And he laughs. He laughs with you. He understood what you meant. He's just making a joke.
Then Nate's gonna actually look over to the woman with whom he first started the conversation, and he's gonna give her a 10 Eddie tip and say, "Thanks for inviting me over here. You're a very nice lady."
She blushes again and she says, "Well, of course. Though next time, I hope we can work out a deal where I'm not giving y'all my money. And she's laughing. She laughs about it. And then she hands you a bottle of Sudzo, which is like a light beer.
Well, then he's going to say, just make sure you're here at 10 o'clock for the next round. I'm making a note of the money I have. I'm actually putting 115 in on my cash.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Owner of Dibs Street. Sorry, I'm adding to our NPC list. Street.
Same here. And plus, I got NPCs to give you later.
Please do. So, I added an NPC section to our brainstorming document. Please feel free to add NPCs as they come up, but also add what they do, what they own, that kind of stuff, so that I know what I can use them for. I'm not sure what that mask is, Mark, but it's creepy. All right. So.
Really, this is my happy mask.
It's your creepy mask.
I thought this was the least creepy one on the list.
It's adorable.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to get caught up on other words. You guys are working on stuff, so okay. Blah, blah, blah. All right, so, what, are you guys heading over for food? Other than maybe Nate?
Yeah.
But also Nate.
Yeah, I mean...
I will get food.
Yeah,
so as you make your way over, you smell smells that you don't get very familiar, that you don't get very often. Because even pre-packs, which are again those like self-cooking foods, even they have kind of a strange packaged smell and flavor. You're actually getting the smells of fats and meats and fried foods and that kind of stuff, which again isn't great for you, but it's a different flavor profile than all of the foods you get normally. What you hear, by the way, are the sounds of the city around the emanation. Not necessarily sirens coming at you guys right now.
I love it. I think it's great.
So, I'm from Scotland. I'm not used to any of this food. What's good?
Just eat it. You'll be fine.
So, as mentioned earlier, there's some Slurp pop-ups, which are like noodle places. There's a couple different vendits, and all of it just requires an ID tap, identification tap, and then they'll get you your food or your drinks or whatever. So, there's a lot of different options, everything from kibble through the pre-pack library. Pre-pack covers pretty much everything from burritos to hoagies to different types of calzones to a bunch of different types of foods, depending on which vendit you go to. And then the pop-ups tend to be more hot foods, but easy, fast, cyberpunky hot foods.
Are there any that take money instead of the IDs?
So all of them will take money, but they're not super cheap.
Can you define what that looks like?
You're talking like 15 to 20 eddies for a meal.
Bishop just pulls out a bag of kibble out of his pocket and starts eating that.
Okay.
Does that kibble have a golden wrapper around it? Just curious.
No, it does not.
No, it does not.
His kibble that he's eating right now is about the size of a bag of coffee or coffee grounds, and it's white and has an Oasis logo on it. And as he opens it, you can smell kind of a pina colada dog food type smell.
That is the worst smell.
They can't hear you because you're pushing a button.
I was pushing shift, which should have unmuted me. But that is the worst possible smell I can think of. Pina colada dog food.
Sadly, combinations like that are pretty commonplace. especially on the kibble diet. Okay, alright, so, time comes around, because it is getting kind of late here in real life. But time comes around, unless you guys say otherwise, time for the winner's circle comes to be. Though there are a lot of people still hanging around, most people have moved over to the concert area with food and drink and kind of hanging out. You see that over the time that this festival has popped up, gangs have moved in and are kind of muscling people for their food and their drinks, and they are kind of just taking up space. These are the same gangs you guys deal with on a daily basis, so you expected them to be here, and you pretty much just kind of give them space. Because it's better, in this case, it's better to just do what you want to do and let them do what they're doing, because they're not really hurting anyone, and you're not really hurting anyone for right now.
S down and walks
Especially
back
with you
for the
guys
winner's
not
round.
having any weapons on you at the moment. Unless you can get them to stand inside the firing range. So you make your way over to the firing range, and you see that there are 6 people that are that were announced for part of the winner's circle.
Hey, it's cheap and I don't have to give Corpus my friggin' ID scan, Bishop says as he chows down and walks back for the winner's round.
Didn't you have to have your ID scanned when you got the kibble?
So
He stole it?
No. So there. Can you mute? No. Okay. So the kibble that is given away free by the corpos. They say it's a month worth of kibble, but it's really only like a week's worth of kibble, and it is not special flavors. It's not anything like that. So you end up having to pay for kibble from other places with euro that you earn anyway. Bishop is the type that even when the corpos or the government is dropping off free kibble, he won't take the free kibble. He'll still go and buy his own kibble, even if it's weird flavors on the discount rack, which is where he got that one.
Someone cut out his tongue, didn't they?
All right. So the winner's circle is sorry, Frenchie, but it is no one. It is definitely Nate, definitely Hector, and Bishop actually made it. So that's 4 of them, and there's 2 other people, one of whom looks like the guy from Pandora, not Pandora, Avatar, and Paranova, and a whole bunch of other shows. He's kind of an older guy, but super ripped, and always plays like the military general in modern like sci-fi movies. Like High Top. I'm gonna try to get his name real quick. But he is one of them standing there, and I guess when you guys watch these vid flicks that have solos and mercenaries, that's what this guy is, and that's what he exudes. Hector, specifically, you've seen his type before. A lot.
So I'm familiar
Yeehaw.
with what he looks like.
I'm
for sure.
switching to my native accent for this.
Stephen Lang.
I want to be a Scottish cowboy.
Do it.
Oh god. No. Okay, do it.
Stephen Lang. Like a no-nonsense, Uh, okay. And the other one is actually a little old lady. If you were to guess, she's probably in her late 70s, early 80s. She is wearing what looks like maybe leisure wear for a person of that age, and is wearing a small backpack with some kind of anime character on it that looks very well used, and has mirror shades on that look very well used. And as she's the only one that's currently standing at the table, she has her pistol in both hands held up like this. It looks like it's taking everything she can to just hold it straight.
Alright, you fuckers. It's time to fill these corpo holograms full of hot lead. Reach for the sky.
Is he Scottish or Irish?
Huh?
I have no idea what just came out of your mouth right now. I'm so sorry.
Frenchie was going to be standing behind the line playing cheerleader to the group, and then Bishop talked, and everybody just kind of stopped what they were doing, giving a weird look. Like, what was that?
I'm Scottish, you fuck.
And I'm sure Mark is typing something up, but the cowboy turns to all of you and says, "It's just about that time, partner. Please, the 6 of you, line up." I'm assuming that all of you signed up with your call signs, essentially. So he says, in spot 1, we have no one. In spot 2, we have midnight. In spot 3, we have been here. And you can see the big guy coming move into the 4th spot. The 3rd spot. In spot 4, we have Grandma Dogood. In spot 5, we have Bishop. In spot 6, we have Hector. Please line up.
No one got my lucky gun.
What do you mean?
No one got my lucky gun.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's gonna be a confusion. I can already tell. Okay, so it's gonna be 3 shots. And it's the best of 3 shots. And that's how they're gonna run it.
Never mind. It's why I don't use it, even though it sounds like my voice before the accident. Noon can understand me.
You press the up button.
Let's do this.
You clicked inside that box. And you press the up key. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody needs to make a roll for round 1.
Son of a mother's teat on a cold Sunday.
Nate's going to look over to him and say, "You did good."
No, so I'm doing them one at a time, but I'm keeping track of all of them. That's just taking so long. All right. So as you are firing downrange, no one, Nate, and Hector hit targets, and you can see that these targets don't replace themselves. There's only a certain number of targets that are up there, and as your bullets hit and shatter the targets, they stay destroyed.
How is missing the target good?
So again, in order from 1 to 6, it's no one, Nate, Ben here, which is the big guy, Grandma Goodness, who's on 4, Bishop, who's on 5, and Hector, who's on 6.
So, I really think that I need to partner up with Ben here because no one Ben here is like perfect. Also, I'm adding a luck to my next roll.
Who's Ben here? No one.
No one.
All right, so go ahead and round 2.
Okay, I rolled higher than these guys, and they still got a better score than me. No, Bishop did better than
That's more like it.
Oof. Do it, GM.
As Ben here fires into the background, you see it ricochet off of the back and fly out, and you hear somebody cry out in pain across the festival. And he curses loudly. Frenchie? That was actually Ben here. Frenchie, are you there? Or did you... Sorry, Anthony,
Nope,
are you there?
I'm here. I'm here.
I know you're hanging out watching them, but if somebody cried out in pain after a gunshot, do you want to go check that out?
Oh shit. No one, what did you do?
I'll look up. I'll look around. Yeah.
Medics that are being paid right now around here.
I'll look around to see if anybody else is taking care of it, and if nobody else is, then I'll head over that direction.
So you don't see anyone rushing over there in that direction. There may be people already over there rushing on it, but you're not entirely sure because you're pretty far away at this point.
Sounds like I'm going that direction.
That was Ben here, not no one. That made that the bullet happened to. Okay. I just wanted to make it clear. All right, so round 3.
Bishop want to get shot if it wasn't for the safety.
Oh shit. No one, what did you do? I'm not across the way in the observers.
Hector's shot goes wide, but still hits a ballistic gel and doesn't like ricochet or anything.
Did it? For Hector, did it? Oh, he did an extra D10.
Ben here fires another shot, which fires wide and ricochets off 2 walls and disappears into the crowd. But this time you don't hear somebody cry out. And he sets down the gun carefully and disappears into the crowd. Granny Goodness, Granny Goody, has been firing her gun and looks at it and screams, "This fucking thing's a farce," and throws the gun down and then marches off angrily.
Wow.
And Well. I can't say it's been done before, but it looks like we have a 4-way tie. Too bad we can't go back to our combat zone. We can settle this the old-fashioned way. And then you hear an old track play as if on a radio, record player that goes, and he puts his hands down at his hips, and then goes, pew, 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 pew. Ha, 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 ha. Anyway, I suppose we can settle this the nice way. And he walks across like robot-like, takes the safe, opens it, and then sets the money out, and you can see the people around you freaking out, and several of the gang members are starting to stare over in your direction, and he splits the pile into 4 groups.
We're the routinist tootinist cowpokes this side all night city.
You hear a shout coming from one of the large groups of gangers, and they say, "Hey, you're gonna give us those funds," and it's essentially 1,000 eddies sitting in front of 4 of you, in piles of 250 eddies each.
I'm gonna start passing out to my local gang members that I know.
Okay. As you note some of the local gangers that you've worked with in the past, you're like, "Hey, come over here," and you start passing them small bills, dividing up some of these small rounds of cash to them, and I'll get back to you with how much you have left.
Okay.
As of right now, Nate, or Midnight, Bishop, and Hector, you each have an additional 250 eddies if you pocket it quickly and make yourself scarce.
I am pocketing those and GTFOing.
Agreed.
Yeah, he's gonna pocket it and just go with the other guys.
While I distract them by making friends.
So, as you are passing out the funds to the people you know, and they start moving around you to kind of protect you and get you out of there safely, you have 100 eddies left. Okay. Alright, now we're gonna go with the last thing in the tutorial that needs to be covered. And we're gonna be doing it with Frenchie, or Anthony, who knows, hopefully, how to do this. As you make your way through the crowd, Frenchie, you see that the stray bullet has struck a young man in his chest. He's laying on the ground, and you can see air bubbling up from the hole in his chest.
Okay, and nobody else is providing any assistance or help or anything?
They're freaking out. The people around him seem to be his family, and they are like freaking out. They don't know what to do. They don't know what just happened, where the bullet shot came from. They're in hysterics.
Okay, so if we can put it in there that a Frenchie does know no one, and no one has provided medical backup before.
Oh, yes. Sorry, that is known. That's something you missed yesterday, Anthony. No one, the fixer. No one, the fixer, does get medical supplies and sells them at the night market, as well as some drugs and pharmaceuticals. So we figured that would also be a good tie with you. Either you selling extra paramedic supplies that that fall off the truck, or you making trades for drugs, or you selling her some of the pharmaceuticals you make. However you guys work that out, but you two have a fairly good working relationship.
So I have a question. I thought we had moved my first aid up to 3 and not 2.
Did it not save the updated sheet?
The one I downloaded says I have 2 in first aid, but I thought I had 3.
When did you download it?
tonight. It's fine for tonight. This is just a tutorial. It's just I would like to go over and do the math before we start playing again. That's all.
Yeah, I'm seeing. Shoot.
I thought that was one thing that we had agreed on that I wanted to at least get up to 10 on.
Yeah.
Oh no, I took one in paramedic instead. I took those 2 extra points I had, put it in paramedic.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're good.
Okay. You scared me. All right. Okay. So we are going to be looking at healing and stabilization. Correct, Anthony?
Yes.
Okay. And what page-ish are we on? Is that 223?
I'm on roughly that. I was looking at the critical injuries in 221, 222, 223, so in that vicinity. Depends on what exactly it is that we're doing right now.
All right. So this person, it looks to be seriously wounded and is dying.
Okay. So first thing that Frenchie's going to...
I apologize. Let me rewind. I'm sorry to interrupt you. What I mean by that, by seriously wounded, they have less than 1/2 of their hit points rounded up. If this were somebody who was doing other things, like trying to get away or still trying to shoot, they would get a -2 to all their actions. And they are essentially kind of like really wounded. You also see at this level you could have critical injuries, like dismembered body parts, collapsed lungs, etc. This person actually has a collapsed lung.
Okay, so I'm just looking at trying to find collapsed lung on there. I'm guessing it's to the body.
It's the
there's
third
number 4.
row.
Number 4. Gotcha. Which is the third one? Makes sense. Okay. So do it real quick, Dan. Do I need to stabilize before? No, I don't need to stabilize. Okay. So the first thing that Frenchie's going to do when he gets there and he sees the guy with the collapsed lung, and people are kind of freaking out around him, his left arm is actually a cyber arm. So he's going to move his hand out. A little device is going to kind of pop out from underneath the bottom of his wrist and kind of do a little scan of the person, doing a med scanner, trying to identify what's actually wrong, what's going on with this guy, which helps him identify that it is a collapsed lung.
Okay.
He's able to see through his agent as well as what the recommended treatment would be to help him figure out the way to treat this guy of the collapsed lung, or at least a quick fix in order to get him to where he could get the more long-term treatment.
Right.
Because right here in the middle of the fairground, Frenchie doesn't have the tools he needs to perform the surgery. We'll see where we need to go from there. But for now that Frenchie has utilized his med scanner to scan the guy, he's going to attempt to do a quick fix of the collapsed lung. So this will be a paramedic check of a DV 15, if I'm reading from the chart right.
Right.
Correct. So using paramedics, Frenchie he's got 6 in paramedics plus 8 in tech plus an additional 2 from the med scanner, giving him a total of plus 16 to the roll.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Wow.
I'll just hand him medicine.
Well, it's still a roll because he could still get a 1.
Don't say shit like that.
Well, no, I'm stating it for everyone. Of course, that's not going to happen here.
Whoa, he made it all better and
Wow.
everything.
So, in this case, Frenchie was able to critically succeed at helping this person's collapsed lung. They're still going to need surgery to make it completely, to start the full healing process.
He's good for about a day or so.
Yeah, and he is kind of sterilized. Now let's talk about what would have happened if you came across him and he was mortally wounded. What would you have done differently?
If he was mortally wounded, which means he's at 0 hit points, correct?
Right.
The first thing that I would need to do is stabilize him, because while he's at 0 hit points, when it comes to his turn, he'll have to do his death saves. But if I can stabilize him first, then he'll be unconscious still, but at 1 hit point. If I have that right.
Right.
But it'll start the natural healing process. So what he would do in that case is a stabilization check, which for a mortally wounded person would be a DV of 15. So I would roll the same paramedics roll against a difficulty value of 15.
Okay. Yep. So in that case, you would be able to get him stabilized if you rolled high enough, which you have, and he would still be in bad shape. He would still need help to heal possibly from different treatments, depending on if anything else was wrong with him. And it takes time to heal. There isn't really a quick fix heal. If Frenchie had a what is it? What's the bag called?
The stim or the medtech bag?
The medtech, the bag of backup.
Oh, the cryo tank?
The cryo tank or the cryo bag. There is a bag that you can put them in after you stabilize them, that can almost kind of hold them in suspended animation, but also start the healing process for them, so that they're locked in, but they are in a state that they can heal it through.
Yeah, so while they're in the cryo pump or the cryo tank, they'll still be unconscious, mortally wounded, or whatever. They just don't take death saves. And I believe it increases the rate at which they heal back as well, as they gain, as they heal faster, basically. But yeah, for the most part, Frenchie's just going to be, as he went to heal the guy with the collapsed lung, it was coincidentally, there was the security station that was nearby that had medical supplies he would need in order to provide the quick medical fix to help him get through at least the rest of the day, to get to an actual hospital or whatever to get the medical care that he needs.
One second. That's a perfect answer. Thank you. Okay. So as you get things buttoned up, you point the kid at a local doc that you're pretty sure will be able to help him and his family, that tends to help in situations like this. That's pretty much it. So you point the family in the right direction. They thank you and try to shove a cred stick in your hand. You're not sure how much is on it. They're just trying to shove it into your hand.
He's not above taking the cred stick.
Okay. And they thank you in what you assume is Spanish, and kind of like start carrying him off. He is remarkably better than he was before, as you kind of blocked up that spot.
So I guess there's also one last note here. So the only way to really heal is the natural healing, which heals your body per day. So whatever your score in your body, you heal that every day that you don't do anything else. So if you're resting, you can heal that much back. The only thing what Frenchie can do as a med tech is create the pharmaceuticals. One of the hypo is the speed heal pharmaceutical that he could utilize on someone if I haven't crafted those yet, but that it will be in the near future. I could utilize the speed heal hypo on a target. Each target can benefit a max of once per day, but they will instantly heal their body plus their will. So that is the only healing that can be done.
And it's still really limited.
Once per day, you can heal back your body plus your willpower.
Yeah.
But it costs me one of my air hypos to do it. One of my stims.
One of your sims. Okay. So as the festival is starting to empty out big time now, because the music is starting to die down, there are still some soft cyber musicians playing that are really kind of mellowing out the crowd. And you see that most people are heading back home. Do any of you have any questions on the stuff that we covered? We covered most of what I feel are the more complicated systems. Some of the most complex things in this setting is the setting itself. Cyberpunk can be very different than other games that you're used to. Even other dystopian future games, Cyberpunk can be different than even those. And as this setting is even the setting can be a little bit unique because I'm running it in a different city that we made together. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Other than that, I think that we're good, and I'm really looking forward to playing in live games with you guys. I hope that you really get a feel for these characters and the setting and building these characters into the world.
I have something I wanted to say. I do have to get going, but I want you to know I think this has been a lot of fun. I think you did a fantastic job.
Thanks.
I think that all of us had a lot of cool things we could do. I learned a lot about net running just by watching and observing, and I thought the handgun stuff was very, very fun. And I look forward to doing more of this. And I'm assuming the 1st of January, your birthday, is our next evening, right?
So the 1st of January, leading up to the 1st of January, you guys out there can watch the character creation videos. We have a character creation video for all 5 of these wonderful people. We also have this that you're watching right now that will lead into the live game. And you're right, January 1st. Is going to be the first live game. Happens to be my birthday, but it's also going to be the first live game. An interesting point. Thank you, J Nate, for bringing that up. But we're going to be trying to keep this game tied to the actual calendar. So that won't happen all the time, but for the most part, we're going to try to keep it tied to a calendar in-game and in-world with in-world holidays and in-world events. So yeah. I think we can go ahead and have you take it over, Mark.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching. As always, if you'd like to support us, you can do so by clicking the follow button on Twitch, or you can hit that subscribe button if you're able to. You'll become one of our rock stars, one of Nate's followers. Or on YouTube, you can hit like, subscribe, and, of course, hit that bell icon to be notified every time we have new content uploaded Monday through Friday. Or you can go to patreon.com/gamersledge, where you can get your name on every single show that we do for as little as $1 a month, just like the fine folks coming up on the left side of the screen. For all of us here, we look forward to seeing you at the first live playthrough on January 1st. And thank you again, Daniel, for running. And until next time, game on.
Game on.